I was looking out the window of my palace. The land was shrouded in the veil of night. The heavens were covered with black clouds. A storm was coming. There was a rumble of thunder in the distance. Bright flashes of lightning cut across the ebony sky. My eyes fell on the gardens. A girl dressed only in a bathrobe was walking among the beds of blooming flowers. I recognized her immediately. I would never mistake her. Her golden hair loosely fell on her shoulders. The golden color of her hair was unusual. I've only known a few people with hair like that, and I can say that it is a sign of her exceptionality. She was exceptional and unforgettable. She was the only woman who never tried to impress me. On the contrary, I felt like she was the only one who had no interest in winning the crown. She was different overall. She looked almost unreal. I saw her fight in the arena. She is a good fighter, better than any of my soldiers. She always fought in life-and-death fights, as if she longed for death. She often tempted fate on the court as well. I remember how often screams could be heard echoing through the corridors of the palace, and when I sneaked in to see what was going on, she was in the middle of all the chaos. While the others were bleeding, she didn't even have a scratch. She was cruel and greedy for blood, but then I once saw her save the life of a raven with a broken wing. She took care of it the whole time until she released it back into the world. And in that, I discovered that there is also tenderness in a girl who can kill so cold-bloodedly. She hides that part of herself. She doesn't want it to be seen. So fragile and so unbreakable. I went to see her. She walked barefoot through the grass as if she were floating. She seemed like a ghost in another world. She turned her face to the sky and gently swayed to the melody of music that no one could hear. You must be Dragomira Ivanovna, if I'm not mistaken. I spoke to her after a moment of cowardly watching. It's me. She turned to me, a smile graced her lips. And maybe this is all just a dream and none of it is real. Me neither. Are you drunk? Constantly. Have you got lost, Miss Dragomira? I asked her. No, I just wanted to see the storm coming, she replied. Do you like storms? They are beautiful. That chaos and violence arranged in beautiful harmony. Many are afraid of storms, but somehow they calm me down. I also like storms. I like chaos, I said. As if she summoned the rain. She turned her face to the sky and let the droplets sprinkle her face. Raindrops slowly fell to the ground. At first, it was lightly drizzling, and then suddenly it started to rain heavily. We both got wet quickly. Her wet hair fell on her face. The thin fabric of the robe clung to her body, showing off her graceful curves. She looked at me. Will you dance with me? She held out her hand to me. I walked up to her and took her hand in mine. I held her close to me. I could feel her heart beating in her chest. She rested her head on my chest. We danced to music made by the rumbling of thunder and pattering raindrops. She seemed so fragile in my arms, like she couldn't be the one who fought so hard in the arena. You seem kind of sad. I could see it in her eyes. She looked at me. That will be the void in me, she said. Sometimes I feel like nothing could fill it. I'm lost in that black darkness. It consumes me. I forget who I am. Actually, I don't even know who I am, she said after a moment of silence. Are you always so honest? Not at all, she replied. I'm just very drunk at this moment and probably won't even remember this tomorrow. Dragomira, my brother interrupted us. We turned to him. He stayed hidden under the roof. He would not allow his perfection to be destroyed by a little water. Bail, Dragomira smiled widely. She ran to him and jumped into his arms. Is he bothering you? Bail gave me a murderous look. Rather, I'm bothering him. Dragomira laughed. Her laugh was beautiful, even if she was insincere and drunk. She was a perfect liar. Do you know him? She asked Bail. Yes, but he is not important. He answered her question. I laughed briefly to myself. Insignificant. His insignificant brother who is just the king. Maybe he knows the king, said Dragomira. She looked at me with a sparkle in her eyes. She was more beautiful than the stars in the sky. I know the king, I said, and my brother gave me a warning look. Nobody knew me. No one knew what I looked like except my brother. It had its advantages, walking through the world unknown. And yet, she was the only one I ever wanted to reveal myself to. But I couldn't. I have never met the king. Maybe it will be that he hates me like everyone else does, she said. I wanted to tell her that I didn't hate her, but I couldn't. Those words would betray me. I remained silent. But the truth is that she fascinated me. The only woman I've ever wanted, and I can never have, because she belongs to my brother. Bail seems to be the only one who likes me here. You're all wet, Dragomira, Bail told her. You should go inside. This is probably goodbye, stranger. She gave me a bewitching smile. Maybe we'll see each other again. Only if you remember me, miss, I said. That's a great mystery. She laughed. I dreamed about her that day. I usually don't have dreams, just pitch-black darkness that engulfs me. But this time I dreamed about her. I dreamed of feeling the warmth of her skin, of the look of her bewitching eyes, of her beautiful smile, of how she danced in the rain. I dreamed of the touch of her lips on mine. But that was just a dream. And dreaming about it is the only thing I'm allowed to do. I can try to replace her, but no one else will be her. I desire Dragomira more than I care to admit. But I can never have her. I was born on the 16th of May, 1401, in a small village, far in the south of the kingdom of Tosca. My mother and I lived in a small house by the sea. Every morning we collected seashells at low tide. I had a happy childhood despite all the circumstances. My mother raised me alone. I never knew my father and she never talked about him. Mother worked on a pearl farm. She worked hard every day. She was opening the shells in which the pearls grew. The rarest were black pearls, but they all belonged to the king. You were not allowed to keep them under penalty of death. Nobody knew why they were so precious. We didn't have much money. We lived from day to day. I didn't have an education because we couldn't afford it. As soon as I was old enough, I was just 8, I started working on a pearl farm with my mother. It was hard but honest work. Despite the fact that we often had nothing to eat, we were happy. Once my mother found a black pearl. She kept it even though it was forbidden. She was strong and fearless. She strung it on an ordinary thread and tied it around my neck. "Keep it always with near your heart, Dragomira," she told me. "Even though we are not among the nobility and do not rule the kingdom, it does not mean that we are any less than them." It was a present for my 10th birthday. I had to wear it hidden under my clothes, but I never gave it up. It was my little show of defiance that no one knew about. One day, in the dead of night, a magnificent carriage, which even the king would not be ashamed of, stopped by our modest house. My mother and I were just about to go to bed when we heard the neighing of horses. My mother ordered me to wait inside in the bedroom, but I couldn't resist watching them from the window. A man dressed in expensive fabrics got out of a carriage pulled by 6 horses. He seemed young, couldn't have been more than 30. My mother had horror written on her face when she saw him. "What are you doing here, Ivan?" she asked the classy man with poison on his tongue. She must have known him well when she addressed him so intimately. The nobility hates when you do not address them, "My lord, my lady." "You know why I'm here," the unknown man replied in the same tone. They must have known each other really well. "You don't even come near her," said the mother forcefully. "After all these years, you have no right to." "I'm her father," the man argued. "You took her away from me. You had no right to do it." My heart stopped for a moment. My father. I couldn't believe those words. I couldn't catch my breath. How could my mother hide this from me? Why did she lie? "She doesn't even know you exist," my mother countered. "I told her you are dead." "You weren't far from the truth, as you well know." The corner of his lips lifted into a wicked smirk. "As I said before, you don't get close to her. She thinks you're dead, and I'd like it to stay that way," emphasized the mother. "You think I don't know what day it is?" He let the question hang in the air. "Maybe you managed to hide from me all these years, but that ends here and now. I have come to get my daughter back, and I am also bringing gifts." "You won't turn her into the same monster as you are," said my mother, freaking out. "It used to not bother you," said the man, my father. "Used to," said my mother. The classy man, my father, moved towards my mother. In the blink of an eye, he was standing next to her and holding her by the neck. I held my breath. "You don't go near her," repeated the mother in a choked voice. My father leaned up to her ear. "You think you can stop me?" He whispered to her, but despite the quietness of his voice, I could hear him. I was a strange child. I have always been sensitive to my surroundings, sounds, smells, everything. "Only over my corpse," said the mother. "As you wish, dear," said my father. However, this meeting could have ended very differently. He bit into my mother's neck. A silent scream escaped her lips. I didn't even realize I was screaming until my mother's dead body fell limply to the ground and he turned his gaze to me. I quickly stepped away from the window. I gasped for breath. That man, my father, that monster, came inside. He fixed his gaze on me. His lips were red from my mother's blood. A bright red trickle ran down his chin. With every step he took towards me, I took 2 steps back. I tripped over my own feet and fell to the ground. My heart was beating nervously. Every blow reverberated through my whole body. Father knelt before me. "You don't have to be afraid of me, Dragomira," he told me. For a moment, I was happy to have a father, and now I wished he never showed up at our door. I wished him to be truly dead. "You are a murderer, sir," I said. "I am your father, Dragomira," he said. "You're a monster," I retorted. "You killed my mother." "Your mother knew very well what I was," replied my father. "You have the same blood in your veins as I do. Didn't you never feel strange? As if you do not belong among the people. What do you want from me?" I didn't understand what he was getting at with those words. "I want to give you a gift, Dragomira," he said. "I want you to join me. I want you to become part of the royal court. I want to give you the gift of eternity." "And what if I'm not interested in your gift, sir?" I said. "I swear you'll like it, Dragomira," said my father. He offered me his hand. I looked at him with fear in my eyes, didn't accept it. I was afraid of him. I was afraid of what he was. I pulled away from him a little more. My father grabbed me by the leg and pulled me to him. His grip was painful. He bit into my throat just like he did to my mother, but he didn't suck the life out of me. He let me go. The way his sharp teeth cut through the skin on my neck hurt terribly, but it was a mild tickle compared to what came next. As if a living fire were flowing through my veins. It was burning me from the inside. My body was writhing in painful agony. I couldn't catch my breath. It was like I was drowning. I gasped for breath, but none was coming. "You can do it, Dragomira." I heard my father's gentle voice. He sounded so distant. And that's when the darkness came. "My name is Dragomira Ivanovna, and I died on the 16th of May, 1418, on my 17th birthday. I woke up in a moving carriage. Across from me sat my newly found father. I woke up suddenly from my deathly sleep. Air filled my lungs. My heart was pounding again. Everything was suddenly so loud. Horse hooves stamping on the ground, their rushing breath. Confused, I tried to recover from what had happened. "Calm down, Dragomira," my father told me. "Calm down," my voice squeaked, "after what happened. I will explain everything to you. Now drink this." He handed me a silver goblet with wine. I hesitated to accept it. I looked at him in distrust. "You must be thirsty," my father spoke when I remained silent. "Don't worry, Dragomira, I won't hurt you. You are my daughter after all." Mysteriously, "I've meant nothing to you for the past 17 years. I retorted with venom on my tongue. My father laughed. "You have the same temperament as your mother." How could I forget my mother? I completely forgot her. "We have to go back," I said bossily. "We can't just leave my mother's dead body lying on the sidewalk." I choked back tears, remembering her empty eyes. "I took care of your mother while you slept, Dragomira." "I didn't leave her to rot on the doorstep of your house," replied the father. Now it was my turn to laugh. "Did I sleep? You killed me, and you also cold-bloodedly killed my mother." I knew I was dead, even though he hadn't said the words out loud yet. I felt it. I felt myself pass through the veil of death and come back. "She was blocking your way to a better life," said the father disinterestedly. While his voice was calm, Anger reigned in mine. I took the cup he offered me but didn't drink it. "What is the better life you bring me, Father?" I said that word with disgust. "You'd better drink it, Dragomira. Otherwise you'll get hungry very quickly and we don't have time to stop. We have to be home before dawn," he insisted. I liked the smell of that wine. It was so sweet and intoxicating. I couldn't suppress the urge to refuse, so I obeyed. But when my lips touched that red liquid, it was not wine, definitely not. I spat it out. "What is it?" I asked him. "Blood, dear Dragomira," he replied. "Now your life depends on it." "What have you done to me?" I said in a small voice. "I made you better, Dragomira, and I will make you the best version of yourself." We arrived in the capital of Tosca, Kilig. It was still night, but dawn was dangerously close. The sky was catching a red hue, even though the first rays of the sun of the day had not yet peeked over the distant horizon. We arrived at my father's mansion, residence of Ivan Ivanovich III. He brought me in. There, some unknown young man hugged me. A wide smile graced his lips. "Nice to finally meet you, sister," he said. I was in shock. I had no idea who he was. His energy was too much for me after everything that had happened in the last few hours. And apparently, it wasn't the end. I was so confused and still afraid. "Excuse my inappropriate behavior. I should introduce myself to you first." He gave me a nice smile as he noticed my confusion and fear. "I'm your brother, Alexei." "I have a brother," I said in surprise. "Yes," he replied. "You're my little sister." He hugged me again. Different mothers, but same father. "Let her go, Alexei. She is still recovering from her transformation," said the father. "Alexei, let me go." He gave me a sympathetic look. "You'll get used to it quickly, Dragomira. I swear," he said. "I promise to help you with everything." "I don't even know what I am," I said uncertainly. "We are vampires, Dragomira. We rule this kingdom," said Alexei. "Doesn't Tosca happen to be ruled by King Cassius?" I asked. "King Cassius is the first of our kind. The most powerful, and therefore he is the king," said the father. King Cassius, the vampire king. I wrote those words down in my memory. That explained everything. "Your servants will take care of you now. You have to get dressed, Dragomira," said my father, and let the women, unknown to me, take me in their arms. They led me to the sumptuous rooms that were to be mine from now on. I could not even imagine such a luxury in my life. Tapestries decorated the stone walls, beautiful vaults, gold and marble. The bed I was to sleep in from this day on was 5 times as big as my old one in our old house. It seemed like a dream. I was still in my nightgown. They dressed me in a gorgeous red dress, tied me with a corset, they did my hair. They put some color on my face, red lips, pink on the cheeks, red eyeshadow. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. The girl who was looking at me from there was not the girl who had to collect pearls on the farm to survive. Dragomira Ivanovna, the noblewoman, was looking at me. She has a father. She even has a brother. Now blood is her life. It's my life now. They took me back to my father. Together with my brother, they sat at a long table made of richly carved, dark wood. The windows were covered with massive curtains. They absorbed all the sunlight. The dining room was illuminated by the soft light of candles in silver candlesticks. The small fire danced in the air, casting flickering shadows on the walls. "How are you feeling, Dragomira?" my father asked me. "I don't even know how to feel," I replied. "Everything is so much stronger. Sounds, smells, everything." "You'll get used to it quickly, sister," said Alex. "Our powers are amazing and you'll love it." "How long did it take you to get used to it?" I asked my brother. It still sounded so weird on my tongue. My brother, my father. "I grew up in this world, so it was easier for me," he replied. "Surely you're not used to all this nobility. How is it possible that you grew up here, in this lavish mansion, while I grew up in poverty, living day to day?" I gave my father a cruel look. "Your mother ran away with you, Dragomira," explained the father. "It was at the time I gave your brother eternity, just like I gave you yesterday. She didn't want you to become one of us. You were 2 years old when she took you from me." I was 2 years old. I lived here for 2 years with the whole family. I tried to remember, at least a fragment of memory of them, but I was too young back then. I didn't remember anything from those times. "She took you from us," said my brother with a nice smile on his lips. He seemed really nice. "She hid her tracks well. I couldn't find you for years until one day I finally did. I never stopped looking for you," said my father. "As soon as I found out where you were hiding, I went to get you, Dragomira. I brought you home." "How do I know you're telling the truth?" I said. "You can't," he replied. "You just have to trust my word. Your mother came from a noble family. She denied you your birthright when she raised you in that cesspool." A maid approached each of us. They reached their hands over the crystal glasses in front of us and slit their wrists. Deep red blood began to flow into the glass. I got scared. My panic was reflected in my face. That's when I felt it. The sweet smell that attracted me even in the carriage when my father offered me blood for the first time. I couldn't resist the urge. I grabbed her hand and bit into her already open wound. I felt the sweetness of her blood on my tongue. The more I deprived her of her life, the more it filled me with life. I felt a pleasant, tingling sensation under my skin. Energy flowed through my veins. Her dead body slid to the floor, and I backed away from the table, freaking out. My father laughed. "You really are greedy for blood," he said with a mischievous smile on his lips. I didn't mean to. I was scared of what I had done. I couldn't believe I had just killed someone." "It's okay, Dragomira," my father reassured me. "We all went through it after the transformation. You'll just have to learn to control that hunger." "I just killed her," I said in a weak voice. "You will kill many more people, Dragomira," said my father. "But I don't want to kill," I said and ran away. I wanted to run away from my fate, from the monster I had become, not realizing that it had always been me, only that it was hidden deep inside me. I wanted to run away from myself. Conflicting emotions were mixed in me. I couldn't even trust myself. My father was right. I will kill many more people, even if I didn't realize it at the time. And I'll even learn to enjoy it. I needed to get some fresh air. I couldn't stand the smell of blood wafting through all the rooms of the mansion that was supposed to be my home. I opened the door. I was enlightened by the light of day. I felt excruciating pain. It burned. My skin was burning. My father pulled me from the glare of the sun back into the shadows. I had burns on my exposed skin. I looked at my father. His hand was also burnt. I was shaking. It hurt. It hurt terribly. What happened? I asked my father. Why is the sun burning all of a sudden? That's the price of eternity, Dragomira. We are forced to spend it in the dark, replied the father. That was the price vampires had long ago paid for eternal youth. Time will never touch them again, but in return, they were cast into darkness for the rest of eternity. We are creatures of the night, bedtime monsters to scare children. Only one single vampire was and is capable of walking on the sun, and that is King Cassius. King Cassius is completely different from the rest of the vampires. He is immortal while you can kill us like any human. He, according to superstitions, can only be killed by a single dagger, which killed and changed him. And he constantly carries it with him so that it does not fall into the hands of enemies. Often during those years spent in the shadows, I sat on the edge of darkness and looked through the gaps in the curtains at the world bathed in daylight. Since my transformation, the sun has been a distant dream. Only a distant memory that I gradually forgot. Is that why all the windows in the house are blacked out? I asked. Yes, confirmed the father. You should go rest, Dragomira. Your injuries will be gone by tomorrow, but until then you should rest. Another advantage of who we are. We may be killable, but we heal much faster than humans. What was deadly to humans were just nuisances to us, annoying our day. I was lying in my huge four-poster bed. The burns tormented me. The maids made me tea to ease the pain. My brother came to me. I still couldn't believe that I had a brother. It had always been just me and my mother, alone in the wide world, and now I had a family. I exchanged my mother, who lied to me, for my father and brother. Is it strange that, after finding out that she lied to me all these years, I can't find a place in my heart to mourn her loss? Alexei lay down next to me. He handed me a blue-bound book. I hope you enjoy reading, sister, he said. I looked at it carefully. I didn't understand the letters on it. Probably not, stated Alexei when he caught my look at the book. I don't even know if I like reading. Because I can't read, I replied. How so? Alexei wondered. We didn't have money for school, and we couldn't even afford books, I said. I'm sorry, Dragomira. You had to live like that, he said. From now on you will live like a princess. I got the best teachers. They taught me to read, write, and behave like a real lady. It was hours and hours of suffering and hard work. My brother was so amazing, helping me with everything. I couldn't have asked for a better brother. He brought me his favorite books and helped me flip through their pages. I liked swordplay training the most. I could have joined the royal guard, but I left that honor to my brother. I preferred to just fight and win tournaments. I liked winning. I liked being the best. It was a good way for me to get rid of excess energy. And maybe it was also a good way to satisfy my thirst for blood. I quickly got used to my new life. It was as if I was made for it. I was made for it, but it was stolen from me by my mother. And now I got it back. A lavish ball was held every month in the Red Palace, to which only the nobility were invited. I was to attend my first ball at the palace. My father wanted to officially introduce me to the vampire court, and maybe he was a little hopeful that I would catch someone's eye there, and thus raise our family in status. Put on the black dress, my father told me when I appeared in bright red. Black is the favorite color of King Cassius. At least that's what is said. All highborn ladies, vampires, or mortals always dressed in black, hopping to catch the king's attention. My father also hoped that he might like me. Becoming queen would be the greatest achievement. It's supposed to be a ball, not a funeral, I said. And also, if all the ladies are dressed in black, I will stand out best among them if I am in a different color. How can the king notice me better than if I stand out above everyone else? My father taught me to desire power. It was natural for me. I had nothing, and out of nowhere, I had everything. And I never had enough. I want you to make a good impression, Dragomira, said the father. I won't do that if I'm going to act as another suitor for King Cassius. I objected. But it wouldn't be bad if the king himself noticed you, my father countered. But he won't notice me if I'm like all the others, I argued. And besides, I don't want to appear overly interested in the king. You should have. If the king wanted a puppet that would fulfill his every wish, we would have had a queen a long time ago. We arrived at the Red Palace. From the outside, it was a representative seat of power. It was terrifying and magnificent at the same time. Tall turrets stretched to the heavens, and when I walked in, I lost my breath. I was speechless with amazement. The high vaults were decorated with beautiful paintings. Crystal chandeliers sparkled in the soft candlelight. Cheerful music echoed through the premises of the Red Palace. The guests danced to its rhythm. Ivan Ivanovich III together with his daughter Dragomira Ivanovna. They introduced us upon our arrival. It was just a formality. The guests didn't even notice our arrival otherwise. My father took me to dance. It was different from when I was learning to dance at home. I had to get used to the rhythm of the crowd of people waving around me. It was definitely not like dancing with my brother in an empty hall. Don't be nervous, Dragomira, my father reassured me. You can beat the best swordsman in a fight. The dance must be easy. But the fight is easier, I replied. Take it as a fight, my father told me. You have to match your moves with your opponent's moves. The only difference is that you won't kill anyone in the process. It would be more fun if it involved killing, I said with a mischievous smile. We can go hunt tomorrow, he said. I let my father guide me. I gathered courage in my steps. I was no longer afraid. The pearl I had hidden under my dress reminded me of my mother's words. I'm just as good as them. And I swore to myself that one day I would prove to them that I am even better. My father took me to introduce me to some high-ranking lords. This is my daughter, Dragomira, he introduced me. "It is our pleasure to finally meet your long-lost daughter," said the lords. "It's my pleasure, gentlemen," I said, bowing slightly. "She is very beautiful indeed," said one of the lords. "She inherited her beauty from her mother," said the father. "So this is my dead sister's daughter." An unknown man approached us. His face was marked by time. "You seem a little young for my niece." "It's been 13 years since my mother died. It took me quite a time to gain enough confidence to walk among hungry wolves." "And you look a little old for my uncle, sir. But time is not so generous to everyone," I replied with a mischievous smile on my lips. "It doesn't bother you at all that this man killed your mother, who raised you all your life." He pierced my father with a look. "Seems he knows the truth. My mother denied me my birthright all my life. Father only corrected her mistake," I retorted. "My sister protected you from him. But if you believe your father's words, miss, you are the same monster as him," said my maternal uncle. "Maybe I like being a monster," I said. "I guess my father introduced me to all the guests at the ball. The gentlemen were kinder than I expected, though presumptuous. I was able to compete with their egos. I was born for this life. Do you think you'll impress the king if you're not dressed in his favorite color like the other ladies?" One of the king's advisors told me. He had hair the color of raven feathers and an enchanting look. His eyes turned liquid gold in the candlelight. "He'll definitely notice me sooner than if I am blending in with the crowd of his suitors. But I'm here to have fun, not chase the king," I replied. "You would definitely be a challenge for the king. He likes to hunt what he can't have." "He can try." I didn't get along with the ladies that much as with lords. They were conceited and malicious. They liked to pick on me because of my past, which my mother put me into. Even so, I can't hate her for that. It was a difficult and hard but happy years. I can't see her like I used to, but she's still there. She was my loving mother. "I finally found you, big brother," I said to Alexei when I found him on guard duty. "You don't like the ball, sister." He gave me a wide smile. "The ball is wonderful, but I missed you very much, Alexei," I said. "It wasn't that long ago that I gained a brother and I've already lost you. I promise to visit you, Dragomira, as often as I can, and I will keep it. But now, you have a lot of duties in the royal guard." Alexei hugged me. I returned his hug. "I will never leave you, sister," he said. "Now go dance. You might charm the king." "Have you seen the king, Cassius?" I asked him. "I can't tell you that," he replied. "Is the king here?" I looked around the ballroom. Actually, it was pointless. No one has ever seen the king. He could be standing right in front of me and I wouldn't recognize him. I could dance with him and I wouldn't know it. No one would know. No one even knew if the king was at his own ball. Nobody knows what he looks like. "I can't tell you that, Dragomira." Alexei grinned. "You don't have to tell me which one it is. Just look at him unobtrusively." I didn't let myself be put off. "You'd better go dancing. Maybe you'll be lucky." Alexei sent me away with a smile. I went a look around the castle a bit. I walked through corridors lit by dim candlelight. The walls were empty. There were no paintings. The king must really hate to be recognized, I told myself. I went out to the big balcony. It headed for the palace gardens. They were shrouded in a veil of darkness. The night skis were adorned with thousands, if not millions, of stars, sparkling like the brightest gems. A cool breeze caressed my bare shoulders. "The fun is happening elsewhere," said a voice behind me. I turned to him with fright. "I apologize. I had no idea that it was forbidden to enter here," I said. "Not at all. It just surprises me that such a beautiful lady would rather hide than dance," said the stranger. He watched me with a bewitching look. The man in front of me was perfectly groomed, dressed in the most expensive fabrics. "I just wanted to explore the castle, sir," I said. "Are you looking for my brother?" he asked me. "Your brother?" I did not understand. The corners of his mouth lifted into a mischievous smile. "No one has introduced us yet, Miss Dragomira." He approached me and gallantly kissed the back of my hand. "I am Prince Bale. My brother is King Cassius." I bowed to him immediately. "I apologize, Your Highness. I had no idea that the king has a brother." "It's all right, miss," said Prince Bale. "You are still young. There is much you still have to learn about our world." "Of course, Your Highness," I said. "Just call me Bale. My brother will put up with the titles, but I don't," said the prince. "As you wish, Prince Bale," I replied. "I saw you fight, Miss Dragomira," Prince Bale told me. His words surprised and pleased me. "It's too bad you turned down the offer to join the royal guard. You would be pleasant company." "Perhaps, but I wouldn't be able to follow the rules that the royal guard follows. I like my freedom too much for that," I said. "Perhaps one day you will change your mind and join your brother," said the prince. "Though it might be a waste of you to be there, perhaps." "Maybe," I said. "Will you give me a dance, Miss Dragomira?" Prince Bale asked me a question. Personally, I consider myself a very bad dancer, but with your guidance, I will be better, I accepted. "I'm sure you dance as gracefully as you wield a sword, miss." I returned to the ballroom in the company of Prince Bale. Everyone turned their attention to us. I felt slightly stupid because I didn't recognize the prince, while everyone in this room knew him very well. I caught sight of my father in the crowd. He gave me a proud look. The prince grabbed me by the waist and pressed me tighter to his chest. At the prince's wave of the hand, the music changed its rhythm, and we stepped into that intoxicating melody. I tried not to step on his feet. "You are doing well, Miss Dragomira," the prince whispered in my ear. "That's because you are an excellent companion, Prince Bale," I replied. "I can be an excellent companion in other areas as well." He smiled wickedly. "I think we know each other just for a brief short time for that, Your Highness." I returned his smile. "We can fix that," said the prince. "Prince Bale took a liking to you," my father remarked as we headed home before dawn. "I know how to get to the top quickly," I said. "My blood cannot be denied in you, Dragomira," said the father. "What to say? I am my father's daughter." "That's how we'll make it far, Dragomira. Just keep going." I became the prince's favorite. I fought under his banner at tournaments, a black flag with a golden lion symbol. All the people were whispering about it. It was a big thing to be under the protection of a prince. It opened the palace gates for my family. My father was proud of me. I wanted him to be proud of me. I was glad to be under the protection of Prince Bale. That way I could see my brother, who was in the service of the king, more often. Prince Bale was understanding, and often chose him as one of the soldiers on his guard when we were together. However, my brother did not think that the prince's attention was very good. "You should be careful, sister," said Alexei. "You may find Prince Bale charming on the outside, but he is dangerous." "I'm not stupid, brother," I replied. "I can handle Prince Bale." In the court, vampires kill each other more often than hunters kill us. Be careful, Dragomira. "I'm careful, Alexei," I laughed. To say the truth, I wasn't. I was careless. I was reckless. Often I provoked the wrong people, and it was Prince Bale who had to save me from problems summoned. I didn't have to be afraid of him rather than of me. "That's not funny, Dragomira. Do you know what is being said about you?" said my caring brother. "I know what they say, and we both know that nothing like that will happen. We're vampires, brother. Such a commitment is too permanent. Just promise me you won't get drawn into their twisted games, Dragomira." "I promise, Alexei." But I couldn't keep that promise, because I liked to play those games. Prince Bale and I were a couple for years. I walked by his side in the moonlight, but over time we kind of drifted apart. I became alienated. I retreated to the back. I stopped attending balls and events in the palace. I stopped participating in tournaments. I put my sword down and retreated into the shadows. My father didn't like it so much that I left the court. I was closing all the doors I opened with that decision. Sometimes I wondered if my father really cared about me or if he only saw what I could bring to him. But he is my father. He only does what he thinks is best for me, just like my mother did. I realize that he is only worried about me, although sometimes it may look different. He was secretly worried about what was happening to me and what I wasn't telling him. The royal court can give you just as much as it can take. I started going more and more to the streets of Kilig. I watched people. I watched how they lived, how they suffered, and how they rejoiced. I watched how they were born and how they died. I even became friends with some people. My brother Alexei was glad that I left the court, but I did not please him when I wandered among mistakenly transformed vampires. Once he caught me between them. "You shouldn't hang out with them," he told me. "The soldiers could mistake you for them and kill you." "You are always worried about me, dear brother. I can take care of myself," I said. "I know you can take care of yourself, Dragomira, but you're not immortal. A badly aimed blow and you die." He scolded me. "Does father know what you're doing?" You know, he's not thrilled about me making friends with people either. He couldn't stand vampires without a family name. I said with a wicked smile. "That's not funny, Dragomira. They are bloodthirsty monsters. They are not controlling their hunger and are destroying this kingdom." "You know very well, Alexei. that they are not the reason this kingdom is falling apart. Just promise me you'll stay away from them, sister, he urged. I rolled my eyes. I promise, brother, I said, even though I had no idea if I would be able to keep that promise. Since I left the court, I began to realize that bloodthirsty monsters are not only found outside the walls of the Red Palace, but also in its bowels. I began to realize that the king, whose attention everyone always wanted so much, including myself, was a monster. Suddenly, I saw monsters everywhere, even in myself. Vampirism is like a contagious disease. By biting, we transfer it to another person. That's why we never bite the servants we feed on, and that's why we kill everyone we bite. Uncontrolled vampires are a threat. They attract the attention of hunters on us. The royal guards are in charge of hunting them down, destroy them, to protect us. And don't let anybody hear you speak like that about the king. You know what he does to traitors, told me Alexei as a big brother. I'm no traitor, Alexei, I said. I just say the truth. Sometimes is better to stay quiet, otherwise your truth can kill you. It's the year 1846. I go to visit my human friend every night after sunset. Father did not know about her. He knows that I go out among people, but he doesn't know that I found a friend among them. He wouldn't like it. We are ghosts of the night. We feed on human blood. We don't get old. That's why everyone who knows us must die. Because only if they die can we remain the monsters from the fairy tales. Jocelyn somehow knew it from the first look at me. Her family was slaughtered by vampires. She was fully aware of our existence. She wasn't afraid of me, and she didn't even think of me as a monster. After all my kind did to her, we became friends. Jocelyn was a harlot. I came to her usual place where she was hunting a drunken man but did not find her there. It was strange. She was always on time, and I was late. It was unusual for her to be out of place. The night was quiet. Strangers were passing through the street. A strange silence reigned over the country. I thought I would wait for her when out of nowhere I heard a scream. It came from a side alley plunged into thick darkness. I recognized her voice immediately. I ran there. I saw a tall man hidden under the cloak pushing her against the wall. Not a man, a vampire. He bit her into the throat. I couldn't see the blood in the darkness, but I could clearly smell it. "Joe," I shouted in shock. The vampire let her go. He fixed his predatory gaze on me. Jocelyn fell to the ground. She wasn't dead yet. I could hear her heart still beating in her chest. The vampire looked from Jocelyn to me. He had obviously never been in a similar situation before. He was in shock just like me. It was seen as he was thinking, will he let me go or kill me? He was wasting time because Joe could transform at any moment. Her body writhed in those post-mortem convulsions that I could vividly feel even after so long time. "Leave her alone," I ordered the stranger. The corners of his mouth lifted into a mischievous smile. He bared his fangs. "Force me," he said lightly. I pulled out my dagger and charged towards him. He dodged my every blow. He was fast. He grabbed my wrist, twisted the dagger out of my hand, and pushed me against the wall. He put my own dagger to my neck. "You are too weak." Still very young, he said in a captivating voice. "You can't beat me." I tried to pull away from him, but his grip only got stronger. He was too strong. I've never met someone as strong as him. He must have been ancient. I felt the blade digging into my throat, but not too much to cut the skin. He was just letting me know that if I moved, he would slit my throat. He tore the hood of my cloak from my head, which was covering my face. "I know you." He looked at me inquisitively. "You are Dragomira Ivanovna." "Do you have a problem with that?" I retorted. "No," he gave a short laugh. "I'm just surprised that the famous Dragomira Ivanovna is protecting people now." I have changed. No one changes. You may feel guilty for their lost lives. You can pretend to be like them, but you can't stop the hunger for their blood. Sooner or later, you will kill again, because in the corner of your soul, you like the life that their death fills you with. I used to be like that. Used to. I know that the ghost of my past will walk in my shadow forever, but I don't know if I can ever be who I was again. I wish I could get my carefree me back, without being haunted by nightmares even when I'm awake. You know nothing about me. I tried to pull away from him again, but his strength was too great. He pushed me back against the wall. I hit my head. It almost took my breath away. "Maybe, but I see you're denying yourself," he said. His eyes wandered to my décolletage. How typical for a man. "My eyes are up here," I said with venom on my tongue. With a gentle touch, he pulled out the thread on which my mother's pearl hung. He looked at it. I couldn't read the stony expression on his face. He was silent. He looked at me. His eyes were cold. The sight of him sent chills down my spine. "All the black pearls belong to the king," he said with a hint of anger in his voice. "Probably not all of them," I said. He tore it from my neck. He let me go and stepped away from me. "Give it back to me," I told him angrily. "Do you know what the punishment is for stealing the king's property?" said the stranger. "The king would personally behead you for that." "I'm not afraid of the king's wrath," I retorted. "You should," replied the stranger. "The king executed his own people even for minor offenses." I laughed. The entire Red Palace is soaked in the blood of his stupidity. Presumptuous to call the king stupid, don't you think? He glared at me. "Maybe, but it's true," I said. "If you've ever been to the court, you know I'm right." "Unlike you, I know the king personally," said the stranger with a mischievous smile. "Are you going to tell the king about me?" I smirked. "You're frivolous," he said. "If you know the king personally, then you must know well that he is a monster who destroyed this kingdom and does not care about his people at all," I said. "Why do you think that?" he asked me. "Every morning the servants carry out of the palace the corpses of the girls he had sex with and then cold-bloodily murdered. King Cassius has fun while his people suffer. Word is spreading, and he is the one who drew the hunters here. People are not stupid. They see what he is." "How do you know the hunters are after the king?" "And that's not all I know. The kingdom is being attacked by raiders from the north. The king does not defend the borders of his own kingdom at all, and allows soldiers from the surrounding kingdoms to massacre his people, I said. They say in the north that the king is dead, and that's why no one has ever seen him. The king is not dead, he retorted. How can anyone think such nonsense? If the king died, a new king would replace him. Yes, because if the king died, the lords would fight for the throne. Without it, Tosca, already destroyed, would have fallen due to internal strife. Why are you the only one who knows? The stranger asked me. How do I know you're not lying? I told the commander of the king's guards, but he also thought I was lying, and supposedly the king wouldn't even care. He didn't even listen to his brother, Prince Bael. I replied, irritated. His kingdom is shrinking and he doesn't even know it. King Cassius will be the ruin of Tosca. Do you think you would rule better than him? He gave me a questioning look. Anyone would rule better than him, I said. If you truly know the king, bring him back to his senses. He's out of his mind. It's time for him to take the responsibility. The stranger turned his back on me and started to leave. Give me back my pearl. I stopped him. He turned back to me. Why do you care so much about it? He asked me. Why risk your life for a simple pearl? If they are so simple, why does the king kill for them? I answered with a question. Don't avoid answering, he told me. It was a gift from my mother. It's the only thing I have left of her. I admitted. He tossed the pearl back to me without hesitation. One pearl will not be missing, he said and disappeared. I took it back. I tied it back around my neck and hid it in the neckline of my dress. It was strange that he gave it back to me so easily, but at the time I didn't think about it or the possible consequences that might come if he actually betrayed me to the king. I was reminded of Jocelyn. I fell to the ground next to her. She wasn't breathing. Her heart was not beating. She was already dead. It was only a matter of time before she'll come back to life. I dragged Jocelyn's limp body home. My father looked at me in shock. Why are you dragging a corpse here? He asked me incomprehensibly. She's not dead, I said. She is dead, but not for long. You changed her. He was horrified. Not me, but one lord, I told him. What happened, Dragomira? He demanded an explanation, so I gave it to him. This is Jocelyn. We are friends. I told you to stay away from people, Dragomira, said the father, irritated. I know, father, I said in a weak voice, but Jo is different. She knows who I am, what I am, and she was not afraid. When that lord attacked her, I had to help her. I didn't want to let her die. You do realize that the king can punish you for attacking a lord. Not even Prince Bael can save you from his wrath. I'm sure because that lord knows the king personally, I remarked. Dad's eyes widened in shock. He wanted to say something. He wanted to reproach me for my imprudence, but before he could open his mouth, Jocelyn came back to life. She took a deep breath. Her heart pounded. Where am I? She was confused. Calm down, Jo. I tried to calm her down. You are at my house. No one will hurt you here. You should kill her, Dragomira, suggested my father. No, I flatly refused. You are provoking the king's patience, Dragomira, my father told me. Who was the lord you ruined the hunt for? I don't know, I replied. I didn't know him, but he was strong. He must be older than you. What's going on? A frightened Jocelyn asked me. Fear flashed in her eyes. Everything is fine, Joe. You just died, I told her. I died. She seemed like she would lose consciousness. But you're alive. I gave her a smile. Am I like you now? Yes. But I don't want to kill. I'm afraid you won't have a choice, Jocelyn. I am not a murderer, Dragomira. I'm telling you, Dragomira, let's kill her before there are more problems with her, said the father. If she doesn't want to kill, there's no point in keeping her alive. No, I refused. I turned back to Jocelyn. You have to realize, Joe, that we live the way we live because we follow certain rules. And that also includes the fact that we kill. But you didn't kill me, Jocelyn remarked. I didn't feed on you, I said. We have to kill our victims so they don't become vampires. If the royal guard finds her, they will kill her. You won't save her, Dragomira, said the father. Not if we accept her into our family. Father rolled his eyes in resignation. He walked over to Jocelyn curled up on the couch. Make trouble and I'll kill you, he told her and left. Your father is not very pleasant, Jocelyn said when we were alone. He's already like that, I said with a smile. He's protective. I don't know if I can handle it, Dragomira, she said in a weak voice. I sat down next to her. I gave her a sympathetic look. At least try, please. What if I can't do it, Dragomira? Will you kill me? During my not-so-long life, I learned to do the necessary. So yes. Maybe my father was right. I should have killed Jocelyn. But she's the only friend I've ever had and I just couldn't do it. I wanted to give her a chance. Jocelyn knew nothing like self-control. In a few days, she slaughtered almost all the servants. Her aversion to drinking blood quickly disappeared. And father was furious. I kept Jocelyn from killing our new maid. She was like a predatory animal that wanted to catch its prey. She was trembling from the desire for blood. Control yourself, Joe, I told her forcefully. I can't help myself, Dragomira, said Jocelyn. I'm so hungry all the time. Control that hunger, Joe. Tame her, Dragomira. Otherwise she'll see the dawn in the morning. The father was angry. I understood his anger and he had every right to it. He was right. I wasn't. Jocelyn resisted my grip, but she couldn't break free. How come you're so strong? She asked me. Because I'm older, I replied. I threw her across the room. She hit the ground hard. It took her breath away. I approached her. She wanted to stand up, but I pinned her back to the ground. Get a hold of yourself, Jocelyn, or I cannot guarantee what your fate will be when the sun comes up. Sir, interrupted the maid, you have a precious visitor. Who is that? Asked the father. His Highness Prince Bale has arrived, she replied. My father and I exchanged worried looks. We had no idea why he came. It has been a very long time since he last showed up at my father's house. A few times after I left the court, he tried to convince me to come back, but when he didn't succeed, I lost contact with him. It's been over 100 years. We came to the reception lounge where he was waiting for us. Our eyes met. He gave me a mischievous smile. He hasn't changed at all. Your Highness, I bowed to him. Miss Dragomira. He kissed the back of my hand charmingly. It seems like forever since we last saw each other. All eternity. We no longer kept a straight face and hugged each other. Nice to see you again, Dragomira, Bale said. Nice to see you too, I said. We hugged. It was a cold embrace. Time has taken its toll on both of us. Bale looked at Jocelyn, who was keeping her distance from the guards that accompanied him. And who is that? He asked. Beau, my father ordered her. Jocelyn bowed uncertainly. This is Jocelyn. I introduced her. She has a problem with self-control. So that's what you're doing now, tamming unruly vampires. He looked at me inquisitively. I'm trying, I said. You have changed, dear Dragomira, said Bale. You used to enjoy hunting them with the royal army. Jocelyn laughed. She keeps threatening me with death. If you weren't my friend, you'd be dead by now. I gave her a murderous look. Don't be mean, Dragomira, Bale smirked. You know very well that transformation brings out the worst in us. I knew it well. When you're completely powerless, surviving from day to day, and suddenly you have all this power. It's an intoxicating power. I had nothing and suddenly I could have everything. But I've learned my lessons. My mother probably wouldn't be proud of me. She taught me modesty, to help others, to be happy with little things, and what has become of me? I chased after power. I never had enough. I liked to feel what I felt when I killed. As if all this time there was a void inside me that nothing could fill. It was always there, but I ignored it because of my efforts to survive. My mother always taught me to believe only in myself. Apparently, the only opinion that matters is mine. And so, for all these years, I tried to please, to fulfill the expectation of my father and brother, whom I had acquired. I tried to please the king whom no one knows. And what brings you here? Asked my father to break the painful silence that had come when I remained silent. Crown affairs, he replied. If it's the assault, I can explain it. I couldn't stop the words from slipping out of my lips. Bale gave me a mischievous smile. Who did you attack this time, dear Dragomira? He didn't know about it. He didn't come because of that lord. So he probably didn't tell the king because he certainly wouldn't tolerate such a thing. Prince Bale didn't know about the fight. No one. I smiled nonchalantly. I will believe you, Dragomira. He looked at me incredulously, knowing the truth. Back but to the matters that directed my journey here, said Prince Bale. He grew serious. My brother was very interested in you lately, Dragomira. He is asking for your hand in marriage and wants you to be his queen by his side. He handed me a small black box. His words shocked me. I couldn't believe them. I carefully opened the box. In it was a ring decorated with a black pearl. I lost my speech at those words. Queen. It sounded so unbelievable. How I asked myself, why now? I didn't understand it. Too many thoughts swirled through my head. My heart was beating nervously. Each blow resounded through my whole body like a mighty echo. I couldn't catch my breath. You will become Queen Dragomira. My father snapped me out of my daydream. He sounded excited. I wanted to say something, but I couldn't form any words. They fell apart on my tongue. Why didn't the king himself come to ask for my hand? I finally got out of my throat. He's currently out of town, Bale replied. He has urgent obligations on behalf of the crown. As everyone knows the king's character, is this even a request or an order? I asked. Dragomira, my father warned me. Bale just grinned. As I know my brother, there is no request in that. If I remember his words correctly, he said she will become my wife. Bring her. He likes to order around. But I thought a request would sound better than his clumsy orders. What if I refuse? I asked. You'd be a fool to refuse to be queen, Jocelyn said before stopping the words slip from her mouth. My father glared at her. I'm afraid that in that case, on my brother's orders, the guards will bring you to him in chains if you resist, Bale replied. My eyes fell on the guards who were keeping him company. I'm sure they would. And even if I ran away, they would hunt me down until they caught me. They would bring me back and execute me for not fulfilling the king's wishes. I surrender to the will of King Cassius, I said with irony in my voice. When should I arrive at the palace? Immediately, Bale said. Why already now when the king is on the road somewhere? I was surprised. Cassius is worried about the possibility that you might try to escape, Bale said. He was talking to your brother and he told him you are unyielding. I rolled my eyes. I sighed. I mentally cursed my brother. His honesty is not always a good quality. It wouldn't hurt if he ever learned to lie. This time, however, I gave in. I went to pack my things when Prince Bale stopped me. The servants will bring you your things. I don't want to stay here all day. Of course. I obeyed the order and left with him. You have achieved what others only dream of, Dragomira. You're going to be a queen, so don't look so sad, my father told me. I'm not sad, I objected. You are my daughter, Dragomira. He gave me a fatherly look that said he knew everything about me, and I would not hide anything from him. I know you. I'm just surprised, I said. I was surprised, but I didn't understand why this happened after so many years of staying out of the court. I felt some kind of trap in it, but I couldn't figure out what kind. I knew from my father's look that he didn't believe me. However, there was no time for further questioning. We said goodbye to each other, and I left alongside Prince Bale. We were sitting in a magnificent carriage pulled by 6 horses and headed for the Red Palace. I was looking out the window at the night landscape. It was so calm while in me was raging a hurricane. The silence was terrifying. It really tormented me. Is the king really on the road, or was he just afraid to get out of his cage? I finally broke the silence that hung between us. If Cassius was afraid to leave the palace, he would have you summoned to court. He is truly gone, Bale replied. He headed north because of the incursions of foreign troops. What have you done, Dragomira, that my brother has finally become interested in it? I don't know, I was shocked. Then I remembered the lord I attacked. You attacked some lord. Bale laughed. At least something hasn't changed. He attacked my friend Jocelyn. I couldn't let her die. I explained. Is she the one who can't control herself? He asked me. I nodded. I said many stupid things to that lord. I said the king was a monster and an ignoramus. I said that Tosca will fall because of him. I also told him about the attacks and the hunters. He said he knows the king personally. Bale began to laugh. He laughed at the top of his lungs. Only you, dear Dragomira, can talk about my brother badly and get away with it like a queen. Others would have lost their heads a long time ago. I don't want to become queen, I retorted. You used to want to be one, Bale remarked. Used to is a long time ago, I said. Not so long ago, said Bale. However, that lord must have been really close to my brother if he was able to convince him. Did you recognize him? No, I said. I've never seen him in my life. Brothers, advisors like to hide often like him. There was silence between us again. The silhouette of a palace hidden in a thick fog appeared before us. Do you think I'll be happy with him? I asked out of the blue. No, Bale answered without hesitation. You're going to hate him. I know you once wanted to marry someone you'd love, but that's a luxury only humans can afford. Their lives will pass as quickly as their love. But take it from the positive side, Dragomira. You may not have luck or love, but at least you will have power. I will have the power, I said to myself, trying to convince myself that this was enough. And maybe it was. The first two things are just a naive dream. A dream that maybe there is something more than fate offers. Or maybe not. Prince Bale led me to my chambers. I remember the day I arrived at my father's mansion. I had no words. I have never experienced such luxury before. When I entered the grounds of the Red Palace for the first time, I was also captivated. But this was a completely different level of fascination. The king definitely kept the best for himself. While the rest of the palace seemed cold and eerie, my rooms welcomed me in a warm embrace. Gold and marble glistened in the candlelight. The walls were decorated with beautiful tapestries. Huge windows let in the moonlight. There were flowers everywhere. Flowers of all shapes and colors. Their scent wafted through the air. I couldn't suppress a smile at the thought that it was all mine now. Don't smile like that, or I'll think you like it here, Bale smirked. I hid my smile. I put on a serious face. They're definitely fine, I said. Cassius wanted you to get the best, Bale said. Enjoy the few days of freedom you have left. Upon your return, my brother will introduce you to his inner court. The inner court, I wondered. It's a group of vampires that my brother trusts, or at least revels in torturing, Bale replied. I will definitely be the second case, I said to myself. I sat in my chambers. Through the slits in the heavy curtains, I looked at the world bathed in daylight. A ray of light penetrated inside. I circled my fingers carefully around it. I was gently touching it, not dipping my hand into it. Knocking was heard from the doors. I got scared. Come in, I shouted after a moment's hesitation. The door opened, and Alexei entered. He was dressed in his ornate royal guard uniform. His face was filled with worry. Alexei, I jumped into his arms. I hugged him tightly. Alexei returned the hug. What are you doing here, Dragomira? He asked me. Does it have anything to do with why the king asked about you? I withdrew from him. I had sadness on my face. The king called me to the court to become his wife. I answered his question. Alexei froze in shock. His mouth was open, but no words came out. Did the king propose to you? He said finally. I nodded. It was more like an order, I said. And do you want it? Alexei asked me. Do you want to be queen? No, I answered truthfully. You know very well what he is. He's a monster, Alexei. I can't marry him, but I have no choice. He can't keep you here by force, Dragomira, said Alexei. He is the king. He can do whatever he wants, I objected. I won't let him force you to do that. I'll take you out of here. If you try, he'll kill you. I am your brother, Dragomira. I cannot allow him to abuse you like this. Just because you're my brother, I can't let you die because of me. He is your king, and you are a member of the royal guard. You must be loyal to him. You are my sister. I will always be loyal to you, said Alexei forcefully. As your sister and future queen, I command you not to act, I told him. If I want to, I can run away without your help. I will not risk your life for this. You already have a plan, don't you, sister? He could see it in my eyes. It's better if you don't know, I replied. Maybe a certain part of me still wanted to become a queen. Maybe that dream was still alive in me, but I definitely did not want to be queen by the side of King Cassius. I didn't want to become his prisoner. It's been a long time since I last walked the corridors of the Red Palace, but I still remembered how to sneak through it. The guards were good, but I was better. It was a night of fires. Great celebrations were held in the city and in the palace. Will you keep me company tonight, Dragomira? Baal asked me. I think I'd rather spend today's celebrations in my chambers, I said. Are you still worried about the engagement? He saw my worries. It's been 6 days. Fortunately for me, the king had not yet returned from his travels. If he was in the palace, escape would be impossible. I just have no idea what the king is up to, I said. That's something nobody knows. The celebration will cheer you up, Baal said, trying to pull me out of the shadows of my chambers. I'm afraid that today I would just spoil everyone's mood. I refused. My words pushed him away. He left me alone in my chambers and went off to have fun. The royal guards were too scattered to guard me. The absence of the king was obvious. The guards were more relaxed and inattentive. They were celebrating. They drank. They made it all too easy for me. This time the ball was held in the courtyard. Silver candlesticks and lit fires illuminated the thick darkness of the night. The music wafted through the wide surroundings. Lords and ladies danced to her sweet tune. They had fun and drank. I threw the hood of my cloak over my head and crept out of the palace. I walked through corridors where the guards did not stand in their places. I avoided exuberant celebrations. From behind, I saw figures flickering in the light of the fires. I walked through the gardens shrouded in the veil of night. There was a small wrought iron gate overgrown with climbing roses. It was already old and rusty. As I opened it, it creaked loudly. I cursed the sound. I looked around to see if anyone had heard it. Fortunately, the distant sounds of music and shouts of joy seemed to drown it out. I headed to the city. Cheerful music was already being heard from afar. The bright glow of the fires turned night into day. I walked through the crowded streets of Kalig. People were pushing each other. There wasn't even room to breathe. I had to cut my way through. At one point, someone grabbed me and pulled me into the dance. We jumped into the rhythm of the cheerful melody. The young man I was dancing with spun me around and pulled me back to his chest. Another turn, and that's when I was swapped with another man. This is how I replaced several dance partners. I had fun and completely forgot about the time. Even though people were suffering, everyone had fun together tonight. Nothing could rob them of this piece of happiness, not even fate itself. Even if I wanted to stay entertained, I didn't have time. I had to find a place where I could spend the day before the dawn caught up with me. I couldn't go to my father. It would put him in danger if they found me there, and it's too far to the nearest town for me to make it. I saw some soldiers keeping an eye on the peace in the streets of Kalig. I had to hide from them. They would recognize me and know that this is not where I should be. Most people wore masks on their faces, so I stole a girl's mask right off her face. "Hey!" she called after me, but it was too late. I got lost in the crowd of celebrating people. There was a big bang. After it immediately sounded another and another. People turned their eyes to the sky, and so did I. Fireworks floated over the palace. The colored sparks, like fire flowers, expanded and expanded until they once again merged with the darkness of the night. A heavenly spectacle, more beautiful than the stars themselves. I lifted the mask from my face to see better. I watched it with bated breath. At that moment, the whole world became silent and I only perceived the beauty. I hit someone with my back. I turned to him. We looked at each other with undisguised shock. "You," we said at the same time. I put the mask back on, hopping to get lost in the crowd. I tried to run away, but he quickly grabbed my wrist and pulled me back to him. I tried to break out of his strong grip, which became even stronger. He tore the mask off my face. "Shouldn't you be in the palace?" he asked me. "Shouldn't you also be at the palace festivities?" I answered him with a question. "Don't avoid the question," the unknown lord told me. "I'm not avoiding anything," I said. I kicked him hard. He didn't expect it and took the impact with full force. He let me go immediately. He was thrown a few meters from me. He hit the ground hard. People laughed. They turned their attention to us. They were watching us but ignored our fight. Some were so drunk that they even encouraged us. "Fight, fight, fight." I turned on my heel and ran away. I pushed my way through the crowd. I bumped into bodies that refused to move out of the way. They shouted at me where I was pushing. I tried to escape from the Lord who could return me to the king. I looked over my shoulder to see if I had shaken him off, and in that, I bumped into someone. He grabbed me by the shoulders. I looked up at him. I didn't understand it. "How?" "I'm faster than you. You can't run away from me," he smirked. I tried to pull away from him, but this time he wouldn't let go. He didn't give me another shot. "Your resistance is useless," he told me. "Let me go now," I demanded. After all, the future queen shouldn't be walking the streets of the city without a guard, he said. "You must have been drinking bad blood because I don't see any queen-to-be," I retorted. He laughed lightly. He rolled his eyes. "Actually, you still owe me for that botched hunt last time," he said. "You attacked my friend," I objected. "But she's still alive," he countered. "She cannot control herself," I said. "I have to admit she won't live like that for long. Ivan Ivanovich certainly won't let the uncontrollable vampire alive," he said. "It's your fault," I told him with venom on my tongue. "You can continue to blame me over a glass of wine," he said, and dragged me to the nearest tavern. There were many people there. Waitresses were running here and there, delivering beer and food. All seats were filled. There was nowhere to sit. However, Lord, whose name I did not even know, looked terrifying and made room for us with a look. People just ran away from him. The waitress hesitantly approached us. "Are you new here?" she asked us. "We are locals, but we don't often go out among people," answered the Lord. "So what are you going to have?" she asked us. She gave Lord a smile that clearly showed that she liked him. "I recommend our roast turkey. We do the best in town." "Then bring us the best you have." The Lord returned the same smile. The waitress brought us food and wine. He started eating his food on his plate, but I didn't even touch mine. I watched him carefully. I didn't understand him. I tried to find out what was going on in his mind. What will he do with me here? "You're not going to eat." He turned his attention to me. I put the wine glass to my mouth and tasted the sip. I didn't take my eyes off him. "I'm not hungry," I said. "Would you rather prefer something living?" he suggested with a hint of amusement in his voice. "There's a wide selection." "I want you to let me go," I said forcefully. "You know very well that I cannot do that," he said. "But why are you running away from the king? Others would kill for the chance to become queen." "I won't keep him company in that golden cage of his," I replied. "I will not become his new toy to torture." "You really think he's a monster?" wasn't a question. The bodies being carried out of the palace and the screams echoing through its corridors are proof of that, I replied, even though he wasn't expecting an answer. He called a waitress who brought us food. She gave us a big smile. "What would you like?" she asked. "What is your name?" the Lord asked her. "Charlotte," she said. "Tell me, Charlotte, what you think of the king," he asked her. "Is this a joke?" She looked startled. "Are you members of the royal guard?" "You can talk freely, Charlotte," I told her. "No one will hurt you for your answer. We're just trying to find out how the people of Tosca are doing." She hesitated for a moment. She measured us with her gaze. She didn't trust us. But finally she talked. "People are afraid of the king. They say he's a vampire," she said. "Young girls disappear, and then their dead bodies are found in fancy clothes without blood. No one knows who is next." "Are you afraid of your king?" asked the Lord. "No one has ever seen him. We know nothing about the king. He does not come out of his palace. Maybe what is being said about him is true. It would explain everything, said Charlotte. And what about the people of Tosca? Do you think people are suffering under the rule of King Cassius? My whole life I haven't looked out of Calig, so I don't know how else, but people are starving here. Business is going bad, and here we are in the royal capital. They must be worse off elsewhere. She answered his question. I heard that the cities in the north are at war. Maybe the king's son will change it when he ascends the throne. The king's son, I wondered. The king has no son. The lord sitting in front of me was horrified. It is said that once a pregnant maid escaped from the palace. She carried the king's son under her heart. He has now returned and wants to claim the throne. We've heard enough. You can leave, Charlotte, he told her with undisguised irritation in his voice. Charlotte was taken aback by his rudeness, but did as he said. She showed us her back and left. We should go now, he told me bossily. I'm not going back to the palace, I retorted. You have no choice, he told me forcefully. Try to make me. I returned the same unyielding look. We sat there in silence for a while, looking at each other. Then the Lord relaxed, leaning his back against the wall. The light coming through the window on our left side illuminated the handsome features of his face. The corner of his mouth lifted into a fleeting smile. I remember your last ball, he said. You came in white as if you were letting everyone know that you will become queen one day. Now you're going to become one, and you're running away from it. I had that dress for someone else, I said, irritated. Because of me, isn't it, my dearest Dragomira? Suddenly, someone else joined us. He wrapped his arms around my waist and held me close. I felt the dagger blade dig into my side. Nathaniel, I said carefully, as to a wild animal. Who are you? The Lord asked him irritably. Her old friend, Nathaniel replied with a mischievous smirk on his lips. I'm sorry, but I'll have to steal Dragomira for myself. Don't even try to reach for that dagger, he whispered in my ear with venom on his tongue. Be a good girl and come with me now. I did as he said. I stood up to leave with him. He kept pushing the dagger into my body, but not so hard that it cut into the living. I'm afraid that won't be possible because she's coming back to the palace with me, said the Lord, standing in our way. If fate thought it gave me a choice, it wasn't exactly the best choice. Either I leave with a vampire hunter who will kill me as soon as he gets the chance, or I leave with a lord who returns me to the king, and he punishes me for my escape and tortures me until I stop entertaining him and finally kills me. Both options end with my death, one faster than the other. However, not one of them ended pleasantly. I elbowed Nathaniel. It threw him back. He let me go, but his dagger cut me. I gently touched the wound, my fingers red with fresh blood. It hurt, but fortunately the cut was not deep. Lord grabbed me and pulled me behind him. He drew his sword, ready to fight. Nathaniel had a bow slung over his shoulder. He quickly drew the bow, ready to shoot the arrow. You think you can fire before I cut you in half? The Lord smirked. You can try, and an arrow will go through your neck, Nathaniel said, piercing him with his fiery gaze. I took it as an opportunity to escape from both of them. They can kill each other. I turned and ran out the door. But before I could pass through them and get lost in the crowd, Nathaniel's arrow found me. He shot me in the shoulder. Silent scream of pain escaped my lips. I cursed him. Lord grabbed me by my cloak. I untied it and slipped between his fingers. I've only heard how Nathaniel and that lord from King Cassius fight together, and I ran away. But not for long. Lord was older and stronger. He sure beat Nathaniel easily, and he was definitely faster than me. He found me quickly. He grabbed me and didn't let go. I drew a dagger at him, but he snatched it from my hand. He put it to my neck. "Could you stop running?" he said. "No," I retorted. He pulled the arrow sticking out of my shoulder. It hurt terribly. I winced. A silent scream left my lips. "You're hurt. You need treatment," he told me. "You won't get very far ahead of that hunter in this condition, and it's getting close to dawn." He touched my bleeding shoulder with an unnaturally gentle touch. It hurt. His fingers were red with my blood. He licked it. He did not take his bewitching gaze off me. I sighed. He was right. I have nowhere to run, not like this. I surrendered. We got into his carriage and headed back to the palace. Screaming tension was hanging between me and him. I didn't want to talk, not after I messed up my escape so terribly. How is it possible that a vampire hunts its own? The Lord asked me, breaking the silence hanging between us. He was wearing a hunter's uniform, and you obviously knew each other well. "I don't have to answer any of your questions," I answered tiredly. "He said you were wearing that white dress because of him," he remarked. "I don't have to answer you," I repeated. "Did you have something with the hunter?" He asked me another question. He did not give up and continued with his annoying questions. "I won't answer any of your questions," I told him with hidden anger bubbling on the surface. "You do not have to answer. I'm not forcing you. But I have my theories," he said. "I can assure you that your theories are mistaken," I retorted. "Ivan Ivanovich would certainly not tolerate a hunter in the family." I was silent. He was only trying to provoke me. "Your brother Alexei mentioned that you are the type of woman who believes in true love." "I don't believe in love for a long time." "The hunter broke your heart." He smirked wickedly. "You know nothing about it." I glared at him. "Then explain it to me, Dragomira Ivanovna. What happened between you two?" I remember that day exactly. That is probably the biggest curse of what I have become. I remember everything. Everything I want to forget. Memories haunt me in my dreams like nightmares. Blood is not the worst thing in our existence. People kill animals to survive. We kill people to satisfy that insatiable hunger. It's the memories that torture me. I knew I shouldn't have, but you can't command your heart. I fell in love with the vampire hunter. It was a mistake. A mistake that will never happen again. He didn't know what I was. He knew that I belonged to the nobility, and my status was sufficient explanation for why we only met at night. But one night he found out the truth. I thought we were close enough to tell him the truth. I confessed to him. He seemed to be taking it all right. I thought he loved me. The two of us can't be together. We stand on opposite sides of the coin. We're enemies, Nathaniel, I told him. Let's run away, he suggested. Nothing will separate you and me, my dearest Dragomira. On that fateful night, I came in white for one reason only. We wanted to get married that night and run away together. We wanted to escape to somewhere where it don't matter who we are. Somewhere where we can be together despite the fact of who we are. Both hunters, both prey. I disappeared from the ball in the palace. I went to the cathedral in the city where Nathaniel was supposed to be waiting for me. However, when I went inside, an unpleasant surprise awaited me there. I jumped into Nathaniel's arms, but he was cold. He pulled away from me. Is something wrong, Nathaniel? I asked him. At that, the hunters stepped out of the shadows. Dozens of hunters, fully armed. They aimed at me with crossbows and bows. Some preferred to rely on the sword. What does this mean? I didn't understand. I swore to exterminate monsters like you from this world, and I will keep that promise, Nathaniel said resentfully. So it was all a lie between us. I couldn't help but laugh. There was guilt in his eyes. No, he replied. I liked you until I found out you're a bloodthirsty monster I'm hunting. You tricked me, not I did you. I gave you my heart, I said. And that's the only reason why I'm willing to make a deal, Dragomira, because I had feelings for you that are still beating, said Nathaniel. I'll make you an offer. If you reveal to us all the vampires in the court, we'll let you go. No one will hurt you. You have my word. When he found out the truth about me, his love was just a perfect pretense. I was a monster for him. He pretended love that wasn't alive anymore, just so he could slaughter all of my kind. At that moment, I felt a crack open in my heart. Blood flowed from it in which I was drowning. He betrayed me. I was upset and sad. I'm afraid your word carries no weight, or we wouldn't be in this situation. I suppressed my emotions and put on a stone face. I tried to be cool, but it was boiling inside me. I was furious. At that moment that night, I wanted to burn the whole world to ashes. Is this your final decision? He gave me one last chance. I was willing to leave everything for you, but I will never betray my family, I said. I wanted to save you, Dragomira, but you give me no choice, said Nathaniel. I confessed the whole story to that lord. I don't even know why. Perhaps I hoped to arouse some sympathy in him and he would not turn me over to the cruel king. But just maybe. I killed them all and turned Nathaniel into what he hates the most as punishment for his betrayal. And since then, he's been hunting me, I said. How many know about it? He asked me. Only Prince Bael, I replied. He cleaned up the mess after me. So that's why you left the court. You were hiding from hunters. But you never came back, said the Lord. I've changed, I said. Balls are kind of dreary without you now, he said. How come I never saw you there? I asked him. I like it when people don't recognize me. I like to keep my distance, he replied. The carriage stopped. We went back to my prison and his home. My escape was not very successful. What a coincidence of fate that I bumped into him in the crowd, as if fate was trying to tell me something. Interesting you didn't ask me for my name the whole time. said the Lord. Maybe because I don't really care. I'm mad at you, I said. My name is Cassius, by the way, Dragomira, he said and stepped out. My heart stopped beating for a moment. I stopped breathing. I was overcome with horror. I started shaking. I got goosebumps. Welcome back, my brother. I heard Prince Bael. Haven't you lost something, Bael? King Cassius asked him a question. I don't know about anything, Cassius, Bael replied with a nervous smile. However, I would like you to speak directly and not talk in riddles. King Cassius returned to me, who I was still sitting in the carriage frozen in shock. He offered me his hand. For a brief moment that seemed like an eternity, I stared at him, unable to move. Finally, I took his hand and got out of the carriage. The wound on my side and on my shoulder tortured me. Dragomira. Bael looked at me in surprise. She ran away, said King Cassius. Obviously, Bael said. I found her in the city. She is injured. She was attacked by a hunter. Take care of her. He threw me into his brother's arms. He wasn't very pleasant from the first moment I met him, but now he was disgusting. When I looked at Bael, we were both apparently equally scared. Make sure she doesn't run away this time, my brother, King Cassius told him, and let them treat her wounds. I don't want her to die before her time will come. He tricked me, I said as the king left. He said he was just some kind of lord close to the king. Well, he's close to himself, Bael said with amusement in his voice. However, if I understand correctly, the one you tried to kill back then was Cassius. I nodded. Bael laughed. You're officially the only one who tried to kill the king and survived. That's not funny, Bael. I scolded him. He lied to me. It is Cassius, dear Dragomira. He will lie to you all the time and do even worse things, said Bael. You'll wish you killed him. Bael took me in his arms. I moaned quietly at the sudden movement. The wound on my side hurt. Bael was definitely more gallant than his brother, and I had to be stuck with the worse brother. Sometimes I wonder what my life would be like if I never left Bael. Did I ruin everything or fix everything? He is the first. He cannot be killed, I said. I was lying in my new, luxurious bed next to Prince Bael. He was guarding me so I wouldn't try to escape again, although I don't think the king would have liked the way he was guarding me. The wound on my side had healed, but my shoulder still hurt. It was healing slowly. Vampire hunter weapons are magical and hinder our abilities. It will take a long time to finally heal. I laid my head on the prince's chest. I listened to the powerful beating of his heart. It was so peaceful and strong. He gently caressed my thigh. He pressed me to him. He gently went over the still healing wound on my shoulder. You got lucky this time, he told me. Nathaniel could have killed you. He missed, I said. He came out of practice. He used to be a better shooter. He wouldn't miss another time, Bael said. Next time he won't get a chance to get close enough to hit me, I said confidently. You should be more careful, Dragomira. I've never been good at being careful. Otherwise, I wouldn't have provoked fate at every possible opportunity. You're frivolous. I've always been. The door opened. The person didn't even bother to knock. He entered without invitation. Of course, it was my dear brother Alexei. When he saw me and the prince in bed, he shyly looked away. "I apologize, Your Highness," he said. "I didn't know you were here." "It's okay. I was already on my way out," said Bale, avoiding the argument that obviously awaited me and my brother. He got out of bed, dressed, and left. Alexei threw me a bathrobe. "Get dressed," he said. I obeyed and covered myself. "I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. I heard that you were injured, but I had responsibilities that I could not get out of," said Alexei gently. "You don't have to apologize, brother. You didn't shoot me after all," I replied with a mischievous smile. "That's not funny, Dragomira. You could have died. He warned me. You were lucky to run into the king." "That was more bad luck," I said. "Otherwise, I'd be a long way from here." "Your escape didn't go very well, little sister," remarked Alexei. "You should have let me help you." "It's not my fault the fact that I ran straight into the king in a crowd full of people. Otherwise, my escape was quite successful," I said. "And yet you're still here," said Alexei. "If you become queen, you should realize that you should not be seen in bed with the king's brother." "I don't care what the king or anyone else thinks about it. King Cassius may be able to imprison me in this palace, but he will never own me," I retorted irritably. "The king wants you to join him at dinner tonight," said Alexei. "Rather, he commands it," I said. "It's an order," my brother acknowledged. "My maid prepared me to dine with the king. She combed my hair. She entwined gems in them. She brought some vivid color to my face. I dressed in white. A single black pearl from my mother adorned my neck. I no longer had a reason to hide it. I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at my own reflection and convinced myself that everything was going to be okay. I didn't believe those words at all. "Are you okay?" Alexei asked me. "Of course," I replied incredulously. "We'll see after dinner." "Don't provoke the king, Dragomira," he warned me. "I promise nothing," I said with a mischievous smile. "Dragomira," he gave me a worried look. "I'll try not to die there," I promised him. Alexei rolled his eyes. He offered me his arm. He was to take me to the king's private chambers. I warmly accepted my brother's hand, ready to face the cruel king. "Alexei, let me go in front of the heavy, double doors, made of beautifully carved wood." "Be nice, Dragomira," he told me. "If he will exceptionally be too," I replied with a mischievous glint in my eyes. "Be nice," he repeated and left me there. I took a deep breath, exhaled. I repeated it again and again. I hesitantly took the handle in my hand. I hesitated. The door has been opened. I went inside. I pressed myself against the door. It was still daytime and sunlight was streaming in through the windows. It's been years since I last saw a room immersed in daylight. I saw the king standing in the light. The dying sun illuminated his handsome features. He looked even more otherworldly in the daylight. "Are you afraid of the light, Dragomira?" he asked me. Already during my transformation, I learned the hard way to be afraid of light, I answered. King Cassius approached the window and shot it with heavy curtains. The room was plunged into darkness broken only by the soft light of the candles. He approached me. He took my hand in his and kissed the back of my hand as a true gentleman. I bowed to him. "Your Majesty." "Dragomira Ivanovna." He returned my bow, today in white just for me. "Only for you, Your Majesty," I said. "Drop the formality, Dragomira," King Cassius told me. "Until now, you didn't mind addressing me confidentially. You can continue with it. You're the only one I'll allow it to, except my brother. After all, we're going to get married." "However, I had no idea that you were a king," I replied. "Does this fact change anything?" he asked me. "It changes everything," I said. "You probably wouldn't be so honest if you knew from the beginning. Most did not survive with their tongues cut like that. And certainly, no one who would try to kill me," said King Cassius. "If I had known you were a king, I wouldn't have tried to kill you, Cassius. But my honesty would have remained the same. I said his name with venom on my tongue. I stand by what I said. I wouldn't expect anything else. But you really wouldn't try to kill me?" he asked. "You drew a dagger on me, twice already." "I know my place," I said. King Cassius looked at me inquisitively for a moment. He measured me with his eyes. He had an unreadable expression on his face. At that, he suddenly smiled and offered me his shoulder. "Are you hungry?" The change in his attitude surprised me. It was definitely visible on me. However, I did not let it derail me. I pushed his hand away. I walked around him and sat down at the richly laid table. I looked contemptuously at Cassius. There was ferocity in his eyes. "So untamed," he said. "You shouldn't believe everything my brother says," I said. "True," said Cassius. "After all, one hunter could do it." Those words silenced me. Why does everything that comes out of his mouth sound like an attempt to insult me? He approached me. I didn't take my eyes off him. I will not show subordination. With a gentle touch, he moved the fabric of the dress from my shoulder. He looked under the clean bandage, which had not yet been stained with fresh blood. He examined the arrow wound inquisitively. "You're healing well," Cassius said. "If you were a gentleman, you would catch the arrow for me." I grinned. "If there wasn't me, you'd be dead by now, Dragomira." He sat across from me. An unruly strand of raven hair fell into his bewitching eyes. In the candlelight, they seemed to have the color of gold. We stared at each other. Neither of us was willing to back down. "How is your son?" I cut through the heavy silence. A crack appeared in his stone mask. "I don't have a son," he replied without hesitation. "Lie to that waitress at the tavern, not me," I laughed briefly. "I saw your face when she said that. There must be some truth to those rumors." Cassius hesitated for a moment but finally answered. 20 years ago, a maid ran away from the palace. I had no need to hunt her down. However, it is possible that she was pregnant. "Did you love her?" I asked him. He laughed. "I'm not stupid enough to make the mistake of giving my heart to someone." "Are you sure it's because you're convinced you'll never make that mistake, or it's because you don't actually have a heart?" I gave him a mischievous smile. I wouldn't have ruled Tosca for all these centuries if I had descendants who wanted my throne. But there is one. I'm sure you know that no maid in my service has ever survived more than a year. And yet one did. If I knew she was pregnant, she wouldn't have lived more than a few seconds, Cassius said irritably. I was getting under his skin. He clearly didn't like the idea of the heir to the throne claiming his crown. But there was something more to it. I saw it in his eyes. Perhaps there was a flicker of fear, that his own blood could cause his downfall. What did you find in the north? I asked him. Bale mentioned that you went to look at the damage caused by the raiding armies. You were right, Cassius acknowledged. The commander who caused that the information did not reach me has already paid for his presumption. Is he dead? I wondered. Yes, he replied. Will you help your people? Will you fix what you destroyed? I asked him. You will make a good queen. His words shocked me. You care about your people. You care about people. But you don't care why you're here. So many questions, and none of them is about why I chose you. It's probably your special way of torturing me. For your perverted amusement, I said. Cassius laughed. I'm giving you a chance to prove that you'll be a better queen than I am a king, he said. So it's revenge for what I said. Did I hurt your pride? I gave him a wicked smile. But where is the catch? What if I can't be a better queen? Surely you can guess what's going to happen, Dragomira. He smiled back at me with even more malice. What if I can do it? I asked him. You will be queen, he replied. So either way I lose because I'm stuck with you, I said. Others would kill for the chance to be in your place, Cassius said. And I would give anything to get rid of you, I replied. It's been a long time since someone defied me like you, Dragomira. It will be fun to break that defiance in you. One of your advisors once told me that you like challenges. I can assure you that you will not break me. We will see. What if I refuse to play your twisted game? You have one weakness, Dragomira. Which one? The family you care about. If you don't want anything to happen to them, you have no choice but to play. I decided. He is a cruel king. He is a monster, as they say, and he does everything to prove it. He would be willing to hurt my brother and father just to hurt me. He is disgusting. I pulled away from the table and stood to leave. Where are you going? Cassius asked me. We haven't even started eating yet. I'm not hungry, I said coldly. My feet moved towards the door. However, as I wanted to touch the handle, I got burned. I stepped away from the door. A beam of light cut off my path. Cassius held the curtain open to keep me in the room. It was fun for him when he could walk around in the sun as he pleased. I didn't give you permission to leave, he said. I gave him a murderous look. I didn't even ask for your permission, your majesty. I retorted and left despite his trap. I got burnt. I quickly walked through the door back into the darkness. It hurt. The sun is the bane of my kind. I ran back to my rooms. The burns tormented me. Every nerve in my body was in agony. My skin was on fire. That's how Alexei found me. What happened to you? He was horrified. Did the king hurt you? It's okay, I said. I'm fine, I assured him. Did you see yourself in the mirror? You are definitely not well, said Alexei. The king can't do this to you. I have my share of guilt, I said. He wanted to hold me there by letting light into the room. I was willing to burn rather than stay in the same room with him. Dragomira, he is dangerous. You can't stay here. Alexei insisted. If he's so dangerous, why did you swear your allegiance to him? That's different, Dragomira. However, unlike you, I have no choice. What did he threaten you with? Alexei demanded an answer. Dragomira. I refused to answer, but he recognized the answer in my face. Dragomira, we'll be fine. Don't let him manipulate you, he said. For him, it's just a twisted game, at the end of which he will kill me, Alexei. If I can't save myself, I'll at least save you. You are my family, and I will not run away from him. I'm not afraid of him. I was sneaking through the corridors of the palace. Even the king's private quarters were no different from the rest of the palace. They were cold. If it weren't for the guards standing at attention, they would seem deserted. Only a few rooms intended for the flamboyant display of power to the public differed. The walls here were empty, made of cold stone. Vaulted ceilings rose high. King Cassius obviously didn't like any chance of being recognized. I couldn't find any painting of him. I wonder why he is so afraid of being seen. You always like to sneak around the palace to find traces of Cassius. Baal found me. Now you've found him, so why are you sneaking around? Out of habit, I gave him a smile. What are you looking for this time? He asked me. Rather, I just remember the times when everything was so simple, I replied. Why is it so empty here? I asked him. I thought Cassius had his own kind of court. The Red Palace is divided into several parts. A classic court for the nobility, of which you yourself was a part for years. His inner court for a select few. And then there are his private quarters. Baal replied, pointing to the wide area we were in. Only his advisors and I are allowed to enter here. And you, Dragomira, are the only one who got the chance to live here. What an honor Cassius keeps me close, I said, and Baal laughed. Your brother told me what happened, Baal remarked. He asked me to speak to Cassius to let you go, or at least so that he doesn't kill you. I apologize for him. You don't have to, Baal said. He's just worried about you. I told him that he can't help me, so at least he shouldn't ruin his own life for me, I said. I told him something similar, Baal said with a comforting smile. Once my brother sets his mind to something, no one can stop him. I can only affect collateral victims. And I'm the main victim, I remarked. Baal took a step closer to me, 2, 3. We were standing close to each other. I could almost feel his heart beating in his chest. With a gentle touch, he smoothed the unruly strands of hair behind my ear. I told you you'd want to kill him, he reminded me, not intending to hurt me. Do you want to kill me, Baal? As if out of nowhere came the terrifying voice. We turned to him. Of course not, Baal said thoughtfully. I just meant that you can be unbearable sometimes. But you are still my brother, and I would never stand against you. Let's just say I believe you. Cassius measured him with a look. "What do you want here?" he asked him. "I came to check on Dragomira if she's okay," said Bale. "She is alive and well as you can see. Now leave," Cassius ordered him. "As you wish, my brother," Bale obediently obeyed. I wanted to leave too, to return to my chambers, but Cassius caught me. However, his grip was not as firm and cruel as before. "Dragomira," he said my name with unnatural tenderness. I jerked away from him. I pushed him away from me. "Maybe you can imprison me here, but you won't order me around," I told him, irritated. "I know what you think of me, but—" "Then prove me otherwise," I told him, "because so far your actions prove those words to be true." Cassius didn't say anything. He just looked at me through his mask of stone, so I turned and left. "His Majesty is sending you this dress. He wants you to wear them to tonight's ball," said my maid, and placed what must have been the most beautiful dress I had ever seen on the bed. They were made of bright red fabric, embroidered with precious stones that shone beautifully in the candlelight. The sleeves did not wrap around the arms. They were cut open and stretched to the ground like a cloak, like wings. A skirt so wide that I'm afraid I wouldn't fit through the door in it. They were gorgeous. I couldn't take my eyes off them. They captivated me. I refused to wear them. Instead, I found a simple, black dress. The wide skirt looked magnificent. It was made up of dozens, if not hundreds, of small leaves. The sleeves widened at the end. I waited in my rooms for Cassius to come for me. At today's ball, he wanted to officially introduce me as his bride. If he does so, there will be no turning back. I will remain imprisoned with him until the moment he considers my company to be a nuisance. But the most surprising thing was that he himself wanted to reveal himself to the court, to his people, and to the whole world. The king, who had been hiding in the shadows of his palace for centuries, now wanted to show his face. I didn't understand what game he was playing and how I fit into it. Cassius finally showed up. He looked at me confused. He seemed stunned. "Why aren't you wearing the dress I sent you?" He finally spoke after a long moment of silence. "I'm mourning my freedom, so I'm not feeling the colorful today," I replied with a serious face, but inside I was laughing. "I want you to wear the red ones," Cassius demanded. "You want a lot, and I can't give you everything," I retorted. Cassius took a step towards me, too. The skirt of my dress forced him to keep his distance from me, but he was still too close to me. "Either you wear those clothes willingly, or I will tear this one off you right here and now," he said so coldly that I froze. I didn't let him intimidate me. I took another tiny step towards him, letting the space between us disappear. Is it strange to say that I might have liked the idea a little? "You're allowed to try," I challenged him. "I'm not afraid of you." "Maybe you should be." Cassius withdrew from me. A mischievous smile graced his lips. Even more malice was reflected in his eyes. He took the candle in his hand and threw it at my feet. The skirt of my dress caught fire. I didn't know what to do at that moment. I started to panic. I jumped there as if the air should put out the fire. However, it was still spreading. Its greedy tongues sought to devour me. They reached higher and higher. They wanted to taste me before usurping me. I've never taken off my clothes as quickly as I did at that moment. I untied the laces that held them on me. I threw them off me. They lay on the ground, engulfed in flames. Cassius took the vase of flowers. He picked up the flowers and extinguished the fire with water in the vase. The dress was destroyed. Cassius turned his cold gaze on me. I stood there in front of him in only a petticoat and a corset. Horror was written on my face. My heart was pounding as if frightened. I couldn't catch my breath. "You're crazy," I screamed. "You've completely lost your mind." "I warned you, Dragomira," Cassius said as calmly as a hurricane raged inside of me. He annoyed me so much that his ego and pride, his every look and movement, even his breath, he annoyed me so much. I took the candle and threw it at him. He dodged it. I threw another one at him. He avoided that too. "Stop," he ordered. "Why? Are you afraid of fire?" I grinned and threw another candle at him. It's a miracle that I didn't set the whole room on fire, with candles lying everywhere on the floor. I took the candle in my hand, but before I could throw it at him again, he caught my hand and pushed me against the wall. He held my wrist tightly, his other hand under my neck. "I told you to stop," Cassius said ominously. His grip kept getting stronger until I couldn't stand it and let go of the candle. Then his grip loosened, but he didn't let me go. "You can't expect me not to return your favor," I told him. "I asked you to wear the dress I picked out for you. You are deliberately provoking Dragomira." Cassius objected. I laughed. "You never ask, you only command, Cassius." I held the candle with my free hand and discreetly placed it next to his jacket. The flame gently caressed the fabric and finally claimed it. Cassius smelled smoke. He felt the warmth of the fire. He looked at his jacket on fire and immediately let go of me. I fell to the ground laughing. I laughed at the top of my lungs. Cassius tore off his jacket and started stomping on it to put it out. The flames subsided. He turned his attention to me. Fury flashed from his eyes. He took a step towards me, but I drew my dagger at him. "Didn't you say that if you knew who I was, you wouldn't have tried to kill me?" He reminded me of my words. Obviously, I lied. I retorted. "You do realize you can't kill me with that. At least I can keep stabbing you. It wouldn't be fun if you died right away." "You're no better than me, Dragomira, even if you don't want to admit it," Cassius told me, a spark of ferocity playing in his eyes. "You have a bad influence on me," I said. "That's not my fault, Dragomira, and you know it. You were like this long before I summoned you to the court." Cassius objected. "I've been watching you all these years. You're denying who you really are." At that, he immediately relaxed. He no longer stood at attention, ready to fight, but I could still see the tension in his muscles. "I expect you to be wearing the dress I picked out for you when I get back," he said. "Or do you want a second round?" "I'm always ready," I said. "Good to know," Cassius said, his lips curling into a fleeting smile. It didn't take long for Cassius to return. He was dressed in a black suit with red ornaments. He wanted to make it clear who I belonged to. I have to admit he looked good. If I didn't know what he was like, I would have been charmed by him. I haven't had time to get dressed yet. I struggled with tying my dress. Why won't your maid help you? He looked at me uncomprehendingly. She's already asleep, I replied. Then wake her up, said Cassius. She is human. She needs rest. I objected. You probably don't understand such a thing. Cassius rolled his eyes. He approached me. He took the tying in his hands and helped me pull up my dress. He gradually tightened them more and more. His touch was gentle and firm. I assumed you had more experience untying your clothes than tying them. I joked. Cassius leaned toward me. I felt the warmth of his body on my back. I felt his breath on my neck. I can show you that after the ball, he whispered in my ear. I couldn't help but smile. I turned to him. Maybe some other time, I said. Cassius approached the table by the window. Next to the jewelry box laid a small black box. He pulled out a ring from it, which he had sent to me by his brother. He offered me his hand. I hesitantly placed my palm in his. He put a ring on my finger. The tenderness with which he did it was unnatural. For a second, I almost forgot the monster he is. Ready to reveal yourself as a queen? He asked me. I nodded. Why did you hide all these years, and only now do you want to show yourself? I asked him. Tosca needs its king, he answered. We were standing in front of the entrance to the ballroom. Intoxicating music and the voices of the guests could be heard from there, who had no idea what was waiting for them today. We waited for them to announce our arrival. Cassius wanted it grand. He is a king after all. I was nervous. I was shaking. My stomach was churning. Calm down, Cassius told me. You don't have to be afraid. As soon as the door opens, I will be as arrogant as you, I replied. Now let me be restless. His hand found mine. Our fingers intertwined. I looked at him confused. What? Cassius asked me. I raised my hand in his. Why are you holding my hand? I didn't understand. To calm you down, Cassius replied. You're shaking. I can feel your heart beating fast. I'm not sure if this will calm me down, I said. It's strange that you're holding my hand. Would you rather me be the monster you think I am? He smirked. Let's just say if you don't calm down, I'll break your fingers. Try it and I'll bite off yours. I smirked back at him. He smiled at my words. He silently laughed to himself. It seemed that I genuinely amused him. There was a loud thump of a stick on the ground from behind the door. The music stopped. A mighty voice echoed through the vast space. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Majesty King Cassius and his betrothed and our future queen, Dragomira Ivanovna, announced our arrival. I put on a stone face. My heart was still pounding, and I'm sure Cassius heard it. The door opened in front of us, and we entered among the wolves. We were standing on the inner balcony. The eyes of all present turned to us. Upon our arrival, I heard how all the guests held their breath in surprise. Surprise. The king revealed himself to them for the first time in years, and with his bride. King Cassius did not bother to speak to his courtiers. It was part of his charm. His unavailability, How precious his attention is. We went down the stairs among the courtiers. I weighed every step. However, I did not show uncertainty. Every step was confident. I held my head up. I didn't look at the courtiers who were staring at us. I tried to match Cassius' grandeur. It was as natural to him as if he was born for admiration. He carried himself proudly as if he were floating. He did not hesitate for a moment. He led me to the middle of the floor. He turned me to face him. He grabbed me by the waist and pressed me close to him. He waved his hand at the musicians, and the first notes sounded. With a single step, we stepped into the intoxicating melody. I concentrated only on Cassius. I was sinking into his eyes. I still had that indifferent look on my face. "You're doing well," Cassius told me. "You seem cruel." "I've spent too much time in the court to show weakness," I said. Cassius spun me around and pulled my back against his chest. "See," he whispered in my ear, "I missed you at the balls. They were too gloomy without you. You brought color to them." He turned me back to face him. "Is that why you chose the red dress?" I asked him. "I always wore red." "I know." A fleeting smile graced his lips, visible only to me. "This is not our first dance." Emotions returned to my face. I was confused. I searched my memory and couldn't remember. I felt stupid for not remembering. "It was only once," Cassius said, amused. He enjoyed my confusion. "Did you do it often?" I asked him. "Did you sneak into balls and dance with the ladies?" Jealous, he didn't hide his smile. "No," I replied coldly. "I'm just wondering why you're doing it." "If they don't know I'm among them, they can't lie to me," he said. "I never lied," I said. "As the only one," said Cassius. Cassius officially introduced himself to his court. He actually knew everyone, but they didn't know him. I wanted to disappear to my father, whom I had not seen for days. But Cassius kept me close. "Where are you going?" He grabbed me by the waist and pulled me back to him. "I want to see my father," I said. "Or am I forbidden?" "We went to see my father." I jumped into his arms and hugged him tightly. He warmly returned the hug. "Father, nice to see you again." "Nice to see you too, Dragomira." "It seems to be an eternity," said the father. "I see you are well taken care of." "Cassius is taking good care of me," I said. "Your Majesty." He bowed before the king, who didn't leave us alone. "Ivan Ivanovich." Cassius nodded his head slightly in respect. "Dragomira is truly an extraordinary being." "You couldn't have chosen a better queen," said father. "How is Jocelyn?" I asked my father. "She's dead. She couldn't be controlled," he replied. "Expected," I said. I was aware that it would happen, but her loss was not a happy one anyway. But it was not possible to save her. Only she could do it herself, and she couldn't do it. "Jocelyn is that friend of yours that you were so determined to defend?" Cassius asked me. "Yes," I gave him a smile while piercing him with my gaze. "She's the one you tried to kill." At that moment, the tension between us could be clearly seen. It's strange how we were able to get along almost throughout the ball, and a tiny spark was enough to ignite the hatred between us again. Although I'm not really sure it's hate, I have no idea what it is. I feel disgust and respect for him at the same time. I request permission to dance with my daughter, Your Majesty, said the father to the king. She's all yours, Cassius said. As we danced, Cassius kept his eyes on us the whole time. He was constantly watching us as if expecting betrayal. I felt his gaze burning into my back. Is everything all right between you and the king? Asked the father. Of course, I replied. Shouldn't be. Alexei mentioned that you had a disagreement with the king, remarked the father. Don't believe everything Alexei says. Who do I have no disagreements with? I said. Did he hurt you? He asked me. No, I said. He has a reputation and I expect nothing less from him, but he's never hurt me. Cassius acted meekly in society. However, I am aware that a wild animal slumbers within him. His courtiers were also aware of it. They retreated from him, kept their distance. They were alert. No one had ever survived an encounter with a king, so now no one knew what to expect. If he hurt you, you would tell me, wouldn't you? Said father. I'm fine, Dad, I said, and Cassius can be a gentleman. This is Lord Broderick, my chief advisor. Cassius introduced us. It is a great honor to meet you, Miss Dragomira. He gallantly kissed the back of my hand. The honor is on my side, Lord Broderick. I bowed to him. It has been a long time since you last appeared at court, miss, and you have finally returned as a queen. How did you do it? Lord Broderick wondered. She tried to kill me, Cassius replied before I could open my mouth. His honesty surprised me. He kept surprising me. For better or for worse. Lord Broderick began to laugh. Will she be your competition, Your Majesty? He said. She already is, Cassius replied. Cassius escorted me to my chambers. He didn't move a step away from me for the whole night. I was hung up on him and leaned on him as we walked. Your father is worried about you. He thinks I'm going to kill you. Cassius cut through the silence that carried through his private quarters of the palace. After all, you plan to do it eventually, I remarked. That's up to you, Dragomira, Cassius countered. I set the conditions. It's just a game I can never win, I countered. Did you enjoy being at the ball again? Cassius asked me, changing the subject. I didn't want to talk about death either. It was fun watching your courtiers fear you, I replied with a smile. They always wanted only to see you. The ladies wanted to be in my place, and now that you have appeared to them, they have turned away from you. My reputation precedes me, Cassius said with a hint of amusement. I prefer to be alone. But they also shunned you. What have you done so terrible that they are afraid of you? That will be because you always stood by my side. Otherwise, they just don't like me in general, I said. They're also jealous of you becoming queen, Cassius noted. You put a target on my back. You are a good fighter. You can definitely handle anyone who gets in your way. I didn't beat you. That's because I'm better. He grinned mischievously. Why did you refuse a place in the royal guard? He asked me an unexpected question. It's been a long time ago, I said. That's not an answer. Cassius demanded an answer. I wouldn't be able to follow those rules, I admitted. And I didn't want any favors from your brother either. I didn't report to the royal guard like my brother. I offered you that place in the royal guard. He surprised me again. Even though you didn't report to the King's Guard, I thought you'd be useful there. The first offer or the second one? I wondered. They were both from me, he admitted. I was hoping you'd change your mind the second time around. If I may ask, if you've been watching me so closely all this time, why didn't you ever invite me to your secret court? I asked him. You were with my brother. You belonged to him. I don't belong to anyone, not even to you now, I objected. We have an agreement with Baal. I don't steal his girls and he doesn't go near mine. I couldn't touch you then and he can't touch you now, said Cassius. So by getting close to Baal, I damned myself to not even getting close to the crown. Did you want to be queen? Used to. And now? I don't know what I want, I answered truthfully. I used to have power and I wasn't happy. I had love and still I wasn't happy. I don't know what I want anymore. Maybe you just didn't have the right power and didn't find the right person to love, Cassius said. Our eyes met. For a moment, I saw in his eyes the possibility that he could be good. Despite everything that is said about him, despite everything he did, despite all the evil I saw in him. Did Baal know that you were the one who offered me a position in the King's Guard? I asked him. Yes, he replied, and he was furious. If you would accept, you would be mine. You broke your agreement. I am the king, dear Dragomira. I take what I want and when I want. Actually, that's the reason why he usurped you for himself. He knew I was interested in you, and so that way I couldn't have you, he added. I just tried to take back what he stole from me. I slept peacefully in my bed. Daylight danced behind the windows. I know I don't need sleep, nor are we vampires tired as humans, but sleep was a nice distraction from life. I like to waste time immersed in dreams. Someone put a hand over my mouth. I opened my eyes sharply. I thrashed, but he pressed me firmly to the bed. Be quiet, or someone will hear us. In the dimness of the room, I could make out Baal's features. I calmed down a bit, but I still had panic in my eyes. I was confused. Lately, I have often been confused. He slowly removed his hand from my mouth. Don't scream, Dragomira, he told me. I didn't even plan to. I could barely find the words. They were falling apart on my tongue. Scream couldn't escape out of my throat. What are you doing? I asked him, confused. I need you to come with me now. However, Cassius must not find out, so we will have to be discreet, Baal replied. Why? Where are we going? I did not understand. You'll see when we get there, he said. He caught me in a vulnerable situation where I was still trapped between waking and dreaming. I obediently followed him, wherever he led me. He led me through the deserted corridors of the palace. The guards were not at their posts. I didn't know these parts. Baal rolled back a large tapestry that hid a secret door. I followed him there. The stairs led us somewhere under the red palace. The thick darkness was broken only by the flickering light of the torch in the prince's hands. Where are we going, Baal? I asked him. "We'll be there in a moment," he replied. I looked around the cold, dark stone corridors. There were niches in the walls and stone coffins were stored in them. "What kind of place is this?" I asked Bale. "Tomb," he explained to me. "All our ancestors are buried here." "So you come from royalty," I noted. "Cassius was the heir to the throne. But he's stayed king forever since he's turned into what he is," said Bale. "How did that happen? How did he become the first vampire?" I wondered. "I do not know. All I remember is that he was so hungry that he slaughtered our entire family and almost everyone in the palace who didn't manage to escape. I'm the only survivor, and that's only because he turned me by mistake. He introduced me to their family history." "I thought he turned you because he likes you like his brother," I said. "We're brothers, we're family, but my transformation was pure coincidence because he didn't kill me," Bale said. We walked on. We entered the circular room. In the middle were 2 sarcophagi. I carefully caressed the edges of the polished marble, as if my touch might awaken the dead that rested within them. "Those are my parents," Bale told me. I looked at him. Memories of the past were reflected in his face. "Has Cassius always been like this?" I asked. "Cruel, narcissistic, domineering." He gave me a fleeting smile. I have to admit that he was worse as a person. However, he likes to enjoy his power and likes to remind everyone of it. After so many years, I know Bale, it's the first time I saw him so vulnerable. He never talked about the past. He never mentioned his family. It was a forbidden conversation. Almost I got fooled by the sadness in his eyes. Even if I knew his words were true, there was something suspicious hanging in the air. He took a step closer to me, too. We were standing close to each other. He looked deep into my eyes. With a gentle touch, he smoothed an unruly strand of hair behind my ear. "The king probably wouldn't be happy to find you like this." An unknown figure came out of the shadows. He was a soldier of the royal guard. His uniform gleamed in the firelight. I drew a dagger at him. Bale stood in my way. "It's okay, Dragomira," he told me. "That's Balmor." "What is this, Bale?" I demanded an explanation. "You spent a lot of time among people. You must have heard about—" "That's Cassius' son." I realized before he said it. It was visible on him. They looked alike. He wasn't Cassius. Not at all. I have to admit that Cassius was more handsome and attractive. With what grandeur he walked. That look of his. The spark that glittered in his eyes. That mischievous smile that graces his lips when he thinks of something wicked. He was not his father. He had some of him in himself, but he wasn't Cassius. "She's smart," Balmor said, piercing me with a glare. "Why is he here, and why is he wearing a royal guard uniform?" I asked. "If you calm down, Dragomira, I'll explain everything to you," said Bale. "Put down that dagger at first." I returned the dagger to its sheath, but still kept my hand on the hilt. I was ready to kill them both. I don't think Cassius would blame me for murdering his son and Bale if he's helping him. Maybe he would even thank me for it and let me live. You yourself know very well what Cassius is like. In those few days, you experienced his cruelty firsthand, and that's not the worst thing he can do at all. I had to handle him all my life, said Baal. He has been sitting on the throne for too long. His own people hate and fear him. You yourself saw how he destroyed this kingdom. He didn't know about the suffering of his people, so you can't blame him for that. Now he decided to fix it and help, I said. Don't defend him, Dragomira, Baal said. He didn't know only because he didn't care. You don't have to lecture me on what he is like. I know very well, I said. That moment at the ball with him must have made you forget that, Baal said. I laughed. He had no idea. He set me on fire before the ball because I refused to wear the dress he picked out for me, so I assure you I didn't forget anything, I retorted. Are you okay? Baal was horrified. I live. Obviously, I said irritably. Then you must know that my father is a monster and must be dethroned, said Balmor. I took a step towards him. I pierced him with the same distrusting look that he pierced me with. And who will sit on it then? You, I laughed. Without Cassius acknowledging that you are of his blood, then you are nothing but a common man. Even if you manage to get rid of Cassius, the lords will kill you before you take the crown. Dragomira. Baal's tone was warning, like he expected me to bite into Balmor's neck and kill him right then and there. How is it even possible that his mother made it out of the palace alive? And how is it possible that you are helping him? I asked Baal a question. I helped her out when I found out she was pregnant, Baal admitted. Why? I liked her, and Cassius would have killed her. I laughed again. You fell in love, Baal. I couldn't believe it. He was the greatest philanderer in the world. I don't believe he could love someone. That begs the question, is Balmor really Cassius' son or yours? Cassius. We didn't have that kind of relationship, said Baal. No one can really be trusted in the royal court. Let's just say I'll believe you, I said. What do you want from me? We want you to kill the king, Balmor said. What? I almost screamed in horror. Have you gone crazy? Dragomira, you are the only one who can get this close to Cassius, Baal said. Is that why he's in the royal guard? To get close to Cassius and kill him? They both nodded. Do you realize that he cannot be killed? I reminded them. He can be if you have the right dagger, Balmor grinned. So that's why Cassius had fear in his eyes when he heard about his son going for his throne. He found and stole that dagger. He can kill him. I can't do it anyway. You chose the wrong person. Cassius doesn't trust me. He won't let me get close enough to him to have a chance to drive that dagger into his heart, I said. Not after I've already tried to kill him. Then why is he going to make you his queen? Balmor didn't understand. It's his twisted way of torturing me. He can do it as long as he wants, and I can't run away from him, I replied. You're closer to him than anyone else, Dragomira, Baal remarked. He let you in his life. He's never done that to anyone before. Cassius is no fool, Baal. He would have figured it out before I got close to him with the dagger. I objected. And I'm sure that before he would kill me, he would torture my family first. I have to protect them, and I can't risk it. I turned to leave, but Balmor stood in my way. We should kill her, or she will tell the king, he said. No, Baal dismissed. I can assure you both that I will not betray you, I said. I would rather request that you kill Cassius before he grows bored of my company. Why? Balmor wondered. Because he made it clear he was going to kill me at that moment, I replied. He wouldn't do that, Baal couldn't believe. You yourself, dear Baal, must know that he will, I said. I have to admit that the possibility crossed my mind that when Cassius died, I would be left to rule as Queen of Tosca. After all, I will be his wife and he himself will make me a queen. This way, I would never have to answer to anyone again. I would make the rules. However, Cassius does not trust me, and if he were to reveal it, my name could not be associated with it. I have to leave that risk to others. Balmor will do all the work and then I'll take everything. After all, who would want a human as a king in a vampire court? I left those two fools there surrounded by their long-lost ancestors. I couldn't risk what they were asking me to do. I couldn't risk my family or the time I had left. Baal caught up with me. Dragomira. He stopped me. I won't let him hurt you, he told me. And what are you going to do with it? He is the king. He can do whatever he wants, I told him. Or will you steal me like the maid? Where is she now anyway? Safe, he replied. And I'll save you too, Dragomira, because I care about you. He let the space between us disappear. He gently caressed my cheeks. He left his hand on my neck. He took another tiny step closer to me. I could feel his heart beating in his chest. However, I did not allow myself to be fooled by that gentle touch. I know you too well, Baal, to be so naive. I told him, and don't manipulate me. Your brother is better in it anyway. I broke away from him and went back to my chambers. To celebrate our betrothal, Cassius held a grand tournament. It was to be attended by the best fighters from the entire kingdom. The royal guard was to put on a spectacular display of power. My brother was also supposed to participate. And there was also supposed to be one little surprise that Cassius somehow forgot to mention to me. You will participate in tomorrow's tournament, Dragomira, he told me at the last moment. Not by chance, I objected. You have no choice, Cassius said. I won't fight in your made-up fights, I said. No one will actually fight me because they'll be afraid that if they beat me, you'll cut their head off. I wouldn't pick you if there was even the slightest chance you'd lose, Cassius argued. Are you going to risk me being killed? I gave him a challenging look. It will only be a fight for first blood, said Cassius. I have invited the kings of the northern territories. Only 4 accepted the invitation. Each designated their champion to fight. I chose you, Dragomira. They will fight you fairly. They will want to win. Why did you invite the kings from the northern territories? I did not understand. They are attacking us from the north. They think we are weak. I want to prove them wrong, and that's why my queen must be strong too, said Cassius. What if I lose? I asked him. I'm sure you won't lose, Dragomira, Cassius replied. Your own pride won't let you. If I'm just a pawn in your chess game, why not just kill the kings when they arrive? I would expect you to understand, Dragomira. I will kill the current kings and another will come, and they will want revenge. They must be afraid of our power. We are vampires. You are immortal. Not so much. It crossed my mind. If they knew the truth about what we are, they wouldn't dare attack us. However, our people would turn against us. He objected. I raised my eyebrows in surprise. You will become queen, Dragomira, he said. Welcome to Kilig. King Cassius welcomed the kings from the north who had decided to arrive. I hope you had a pleasant travel. At first glance, Cassius seemed like someone you didn't want to mess with. He looked like the cruel king they talk about. He was perfectly polished, dressed in his black suit. He had an arrogant look on his face. That one unruly strand of his raven hair fell into his eyes. A golden crown shone on his head. I stood by his side. I was dressed in a black dress with a train, decorated with gold ornaments. He also put a crown on my head, even though I wasn't a queen yet. I'm not the queen yet, I said to Cassius. You will be soon, so start getting used to wearing it, he said and put it on my head himself. I tried to keep the same cold attitude as him. I stood proudly as if we owned the world. Your invitation is our honor, King Cassius. Kings spoke. Why is your castle hidden in the dark? Asked King Noir. Are you afraid of the light? From his kingdom of Odora, which stretched to the far north, the hunters used to come. Its kings were conquerors. They conquered most of the divided north, and today their borders extend to ours. Cassius strode towards them. I remained standing in the shadows. He stepped into the light. He looked even more otherworldly in the daylight. I can assure you that I am not afraid of anything, King Noir. His lips curled into a wicked smirk. There is much said about your kingdom, King Cassius, said King Noir. You're supposed to be ruled by monsters here. There is a lot of talk about me. I only rule with an iron fist, said Cassius. You are still a boy, said King Noir. King Noir was old. His black hair was mixed with gray. His face was marked by time. Age does not make kings good kings, replied Cassius. Some of us are simply born with centuries of experience. I felt like laughing at those words. I had to suppress a smile. Cassius apparently knew his family before he even sat on the northern throne. I could tell he was having fun with it too. However, King Noir must have suspected something when he teased him like that. After all, those hunters are from his kingdom. Truth, said King Noir. Some of us have rules simply in our blood. That must be your bride for sure. King Blake turned his attention to me. Cassius approached me. He gave me his hand. I accepted it without hesitation. I believed that he would not do anything to me in such a situation. His torture was a private pleasure. We stopped at the border of light and shadows. Well, gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my betrothed. This is Dragomira Ivanovna. Your Majesties, I bowed to them. Don't embarrass me. I joked with Alexei preparing for his fight. Rather so that you don't embarrass me as a queen. Alexei grinned. I clutched my heart and pretended to be offended. In a sisterly way, I gently hit him on the shoulder. We both laughed. "Not that you're going to bleed," I told him with a smile. "Then I won't bandage your wounds." "I'll be fine, but you mustn't bleed. Unlike you, I can afford to lose, sister." He gave me a mischievous smile. "I won't lose," I objected. "I'm the best." Cassius checked the readiness of his soldiers. He didn't want any mistakes. He did not tolerate them. He approached us. "What are you laughing at?" he asked us. We stopped laughing. Alexei stood at attention. "Nothing," we said at once. Cassius looked at us inquisitively. Disbelief played in his eyes. He didn't trust anyone. He was more vigilant than his guards. "The tournament is about to start. We're going to sit down, Dragomira," he finally said. "As you wish," I said. We walked to our seats in the stands. We unexpectedly ran into King Noir. "King Cassius, Miss Dragomira," he bowed gently to us. "King Noir," Cassius replied. "Have you come to find out who my champion is?" "Of course, we came to see the competition," said King Noir. "This is my champion." From behind the line of soldiers guarding King Noir came out a soldier in the uniform of the hunter. Nathaniel. I couldn't hide my shock, but Cassius didn't show anything. However, I felt how the muscles in his body tensed. "Nathaniel," I said his name with disgust. "Dragomira." He bowed to me, but it seemed more like a joke. "Can't say I'm glad to see you." "I have to say the same thing," I said. "Do you know each other?" asked King Noir, but he wasn't surprised. He certainly knew it very well. "Nathaniel tried to kill Dragomira," Cassius replied. "Several times, if I'm familiar with it." There was a heavy silence. The silence seemed endless. Cassius didn't like surprises, and least of all when someone tried to corner him. Nathaniel was a hunter who tried to kill me, both of us because he was defending me. But Cassius could do nothing. It was very unpleasant when Nathaniel was supposed to fight me, and he couldn't even have him executed. It could have raised questions he didn't want to answer and an argument we wanted to avoid. "Who is your champion?" King Noir finally asked. "Dragomira," Cassius said. "A woman with a sword in her hand," wondered King Noir. "I can assure you that my dearest Dragomira will defeat anyone you put in her way," said Cassius. I realized that there was a reason why he addressed me that way. To show King Noir that he has a strong queen by his side and he will not mock her. To anger Nathaniel, because what was between us cannot be simply forgotten, even if the flame has long since gone out. Even though it wasn't sincere, I liked the way it sounded. "My dearest Dragomira." "We'll see in the arena," said King Noir. We went to sit in our seats. The arena was already full of people who had come to watch the special tournament. The hum of hundreds of voices carried through the air. They couldn't wait for it to start. The first was a display of the royal guard. They were dressed in their magnificent armor that shone brightly even in the darkness. Their swords met. The chant of steel clashing against steel carried throughout the arena. They fought together. However, it was not a fight to the death, nor a fight for first blood. It was only supposed to be a spectacular display of our war power. Alexei was a good fighter, with a sword as if they were one. He was born to fight. The royal guard was his life, and I was proud of him. Fights to the death followed next. A group of fighters were released into the arena and forced to fight each other. The last one standing alive will be richly rewarded. It was the most popular pastime of the people. They hated the king for his cruelty, but enjoyed watching the carnage and bloodshed in the arena. It was kind of a paradox. The people who signed up for these fights were desperate. They had nothing to lose. Even the families of the dead received silver for their loss. They signed up for fights in order to take care of their loved ones, even at the cost of their death. There was a moment when my part came into play. I went backstage to prepare. The skirt of my dress could be unbuttoned, so I didn't have to change. I put down the crown. I tried to put on my armor. It's been years since I did it, and I was pretty bad at it. My fingers have forgotten the movement that was once so natural to me. Strangers' hands helped me. My coat of arms suits you better than Baal's, Cassius whispered in my ear. Those words awakened memories of the fact that I once fought in this exact arena under the prince's coat of arms. I had once been adorned with the emblem of a golden lion, and now my armor was adorned with a royal rose. You know I have servants to help me dress, I told him. I came to wish you luck and saw you struggling with your own armor. I decided to help you with it because you are too proud to ask for help, Cassius said. I would ask my brother, I objected. You wouldn't ask him for help at all, Cassius countered. You want to look strong in front of him, that you can handle everything yourself. You don't want him to worry about you. He saw in me more than I wanted. I was usually good at hiding the truth, but with him, I felt transparent. He also knew about me what I was not willing to admit to myself yet. When he finished fastening the armor to my chest, I turned to him. Our eyes met. "Isn't it too tight?" he asked me. "No," I replied. He took my sword and fastened it to my belt. He took my dagger, knelt in front of me, and tied it to my thigh. The whole time he didn't take his eyes off mine. He stood up and looked down at me again. You know you can be even nice, I told him. Kindness is weakness, said Cassius. If you're nice, they'll destroy you. You don't have to be like that with me, I told him. Don't build those walls around you. Maybe I'm just the monster you think I am. Dragomira, Cassius said. I took a tiny step closer to him and let the space between us completely disappear. I carefully touched his face as if he could step away. He didn't. I left my hand on his cheek, and Cassius held it there as if he didn't want me to back down. His touch was gentle. He closed his eyes. At that moment, he did not seem like the cruel king at all. I'm not afraid of you, Cassius, I said. He opened his eyes. A mischievous smile bloomed on his lips. Are you making this a challenge, Dragomira? Before I could answer, the bells rang announcing my turn. Cassius and I backed away from each other. We walked into the arena. Do you think King Noir knows anything about what we are? I asked Cassius. Most probably, he replied. I looked into the arena. I watched those people in the audience who would want me to lose. Nervous, Cassius asked me. A little, I replied. It's been a long time since I last stood here. I believe in your ability to win, Dragomira, Cassius said. And if you happen to cut Nathaniel's neck during the fight, I won't blame you. I couldn't suppress a smile. Cassius smiled too. He smiled sincerely. I stood in the middle of the arena ready to fight. Grave silence reigned in the arena. You could hear the hearts of the crowd beating in unison. In front of me stood the champion of King Blake. He was a man as tall as a mountain, the muscle itself. I quickly returned to the strategy. It was natural for me, something I will never forget. I started calculating my chances. He was big and slow. He will rely on strength rather than intelligence. I'm small and fast. I was basically right. His movements were clumsy and his punches powerful. Mine were rather brisk. I dodged the blade of his sword. I tried to fend off his lunges. I couldn't afford even a single scratch. I was not allowed to spill a single drop of my blood. I couldn't afford to lose. One of his blows knocked me to the ground. He knocked the sword out of my hand. My eyes found Cassius. He was so calm. His gaze was icy cold. My opponent swung his sword to the ground. I just dodged him. The sand rose into the air. Again and again, he swung in my direction. I didn't get a chance to stand up. I decided to make a risky move. I pulled out my dagger. When Alexei taught me to fight with a sword, he always told me that to go against a sword with a dagger is a good way to lose my hand. Now I had no choice. I had to be quick, and all luck had to be on my side. I threw sand in his eyes. It kept him busy long enough for me to stand up. He was upset. He swung his sword at me violently. I guess the fight lasted forever. I wanted to end it. I made a risky move. My opponent kicked me. As I hit the ground, I threw a dagger at him and it stuck in his shoulder. I won. He was bleeding, and I wasn't. The crowd applauded. I was in shock. My eyes automatically fell on Cassius. He had a proud expression on his face. It warmed my heart. I won the second fight quickly. The first one was like a heavy warm-up after years of inactivity. I regained the confidence to hold the sword and didn't play with it anymore. I also won the third fight. It seemed unnaturally simple. A few well-aimed blows and it was over. They were bleeding, and I came out of the fight unscathed. The fourth and last fight was supposed to be against Nathaniel. They were no match for me as a vampire. Nathaniel is also a vampire, created by my hand. Even though I'm older and stronger, we were equal. Nathaniel had time to observe me. He could watch me fight for 3 whole fights and learn from the mistakes of my opponents. He was certainly prepared for all possibilities, that I will fight as always, even though I will do everything differently. We stood there facing each other, once lovers, now enemies. It was a fight for first blood, and both of us were ready to kill each other. I took the first step. Nathaniel parried my lunge effortlessly. He knew me. We fought together for a long time before everything went wrong between us. We were cautious at first. We tested each other's limits, as if we didn't want to fight each other, but at the same time there was a murderous desire between us. Our swords crossed. They were stuck between us. We were standing close to each other. "You will pay for what you did to me, Dragomira," Nathaniel told me with venom on his tongue. "I was just returning your favor. I retorted. I gave you a chance to save yourself, he said. I loved you, but I couldn't betray who I am and my people. In that case, you understand that I couldn't betray my own, I said. You should have killed me when you could, Dragomira. Death would be too merciful punishment for you. I just made you the same monster on the outside that you already were on the inside. The words infuriated him. Our swords came apart. He was attacking with animal desire. He went after my heart. Steel sang. The audience held their breath. It was just a matter of coincidence. My blade wrapped around his and cut him on the back of his hand. His sword fell from his hand. Deep red blood dripped onto the sand. The crowd clapped and booed. I won. I won. Nathaniel's eyes flashed with pure fury. He took the sword and began to attack again. His attacks were fierce and furious. I almost didn't have time to defend myself. My arm hurt from the way his sword hit mine. That would be enough. I heard Cassius thunder, but Nathaniel didn't stop. His attacks became more and more aggressive. Now it really became a fight to the death. I managed to hit him several times, but they were not serious injuries. I couldn't get close to him without him running the edge of his sword through me. His sword touched my chest armor. A screeching sound was cutting into my ears. At that, a blade went through Nathaniel's chest. I've said enough, Cassius said angrily. Cassius drew his sword from him and Nathaniel fell to his knees. Blood was pouring from his wound. He was coughing up blood. His lips turned red with his own blood. He knew he was going to die now, but there was no fear in his eyes. He looked at me with all the resistance he could muster. You will die, Dragomira, he said. Cassius leaned towards him. Maybe once, but definitely not by your hand. He hissed in his ear. He gripped the sword in his hand more firmly and beheaded him. His lifeless body fell to the ground. His head rolled to my feet. A growing pool of blood formed in the sand. People screamed in horror. They had only heard about the cruelty of their king until now, and now they were witnessing it. But he saved my life. He killed him to save me. I was shaking. I couldn't catch my breath. The beating of my heart drowned out everything around me. I didn't even notice that Cassius was giving me his hand until he said my name with such tenderness. Dragomira. He hid me in his arms. He took me away. Dragomira, Alexei ran to us. Are you okay? He assured. Cassius forgave him for relaxing his military morals. He was only my brother after all. He was worried about me. I said. I'll take care of her. You end it here. Cassius ordered, not letting me out of his hands. Cassius didn't care what people thought about how he beheaded Nathaniel there. He didn't care that they saw him appear at my side in the blink of an eye to save me. He only cared about me, if I'm not hurt. He held me in his embrace and led me away. As we walked away, I saw Bale talking to King Noir. It was suspicious, but at the time I didn't realize how much. My mind was occupied with other thoughts. Cassius led me to the carriage. We headed back to the palace. I sat in his arms. I was still shaking. Cassius threw his doublet over my shoulders. Are you disgusted that I beheaded him there? His question surprised me, as if he cared about my opinion. Sigh. Nathaniel mentioned there that he gave you the chance to escape, which you refused, Cassius noted. Did you hear what we talked about there? I wondered. Every word, he said. Why did you refuse his offer? I was supposed to betray all the vampires at court in exchange for getting out of there alive that day, I admitted. Even if I did, I would be on the run. I didn't want to hide like my mother from my father. I'm not a monster. Do you doubt that? Cassius asked me a question. Until then, I never doubted. I don't even know who I am now, I answered. You are Dragomira Ivanovna, said Cassius, the most untamed being I have ever known.